Dude, I can make a million theories about something that will never happen within the window of human existence.
Yeah, make one.
Yeah, actually, the black holes are gaining energy, Mr. Hawking, and it's called Taylor radiation.
So what I'm saying is, science fiction often becomes science fact, and I think Michael Crichton might have been ahead of his time. I think eventually we will bring something back.
Science fiction often becomes science fact. Put that over a fucking picture of space with Neil deGrasse Tyson looking listlessly into the distance. Science fiction often becomes science fact.
It does. It does.
I know. It's just the way you said it was so funny.
It was very notable.
Yeah.
Science fiction often becomes science fact.
I stared at the mirror for 3 hours this afternoon practicing that line. I will not have science fiction often becomes science fact.
You want a personal hovercraft and you want to go up and down and see the elevation of rivers.
Not just rivers, all of it. I'd want to get high enough that I could see the lines in between the countries.
Cool.
That's a good idea.
That's what I want to do. Yeah.
I think I'd want to float around in zero gravity. I'm not like, man, I got to see
I'm
what
just
that
saying
mountain
that
looks like at a certain
as it stands right now, I don't feel like going to space you'd even get much out of it. Like, it's so early in the beginning of it. Like, there's no way there's that much.
Did you see when Shatner went to space? And it was supposed to be like this big PR thing, like about how great space is. And then it was just like, man, that was the most depressing fucking thing in my life.
Why didn't you like it?
Space sucks.
He said
he's like, because he looked at Earth like it's the loneliest. We're just on a rock in the middle of nothingness. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Fucking crisis up there.
He said something about staring out into the
would be sad.
void of it all and realizing how truly alone we were, or something.
Made
all
up.
Jokes aside about like Europe maybe not really existing. Like, who's to say that any of us exist? You might just be the one guy here. And because of the way time dilation works, either perceived or real time dilation, it doesn't matter which. Your whole life, your whole existence could have just been this little boop where somebody booted the PC on. So it just like ran all the memory real quick. And you're just that. Your little flash of energy that ran through the circuit boards real quick. And everything. None of it's real.
That thing about Europe existing.
I hope so.
I've had that thought too. No, I've been to Europe a couple of times, but am I sure I have? Right? Like, I wasn't watching the whole time. They could have taken the plane in great big circles, landed me not too far away from home, and told me
you stirred a memory.
I went there by plane. I went back by boat, and they could have still fooled me. I don't know.
Just circling over the Great Lakes.
The Chinese took pictures of our landing site and we're like, "Oh, look, America's landing site."
But did they wreck it?
No, they just flew over it and took some goddamn.
They just flew over it. They didn't land or anything.
They wouldn't wreck it. That'd be a problem. They know better than to go fucking with our flag on the goddamn
I was
moon.
thinking how hilarious that would be.
We don't care.
If they just fucked it up. They just kick it
what would happen? What would happen if China kicked our flag down on the moon?
I wouldn't.
Nothing. I hope, but it depends on the president. What would happen if they put their flag next to ours and it just became like a
little higher,
over it,
like graffiti, like Woody was here. You know, everyone.
No, they put it on top of it. You know how like
now you're doing a thing. I'm just like, what would happen if they were like, we were here too, and that became.
They're gonna do a thing. What do you think? They're gonna do the exact same size flag as ours and put them right next to each other so there's no forced perspective? No, they're gonna put a big honking Chinese flag over ours. That's what they do. I'll tell you what we do. We go up there and we plant a bigger one. That's what we do. That's what we do. We go up there, we plant one of those big honking. If you've ever been to Florida and seen one of those rebel flags, one of those.
So I am addicted to this one
Wings
YouTuber. I think his name is Brian Cox. The guy, he's British. Yeah, okay, yeah. Physicist, I think. Anyway, he's convinced me that we might be alone in the universe. He's talked about alien life. And by the way, when I say life, I mean intelligent, complex life, not viruses and amoebas and stuff.
Yeah, somebody you talk to.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. So he says the universe is 12 billion years old. Apparently, we know this. All right. Earth is about 4 billion years old. So a third of the universe's entire span of existence. And Earth has had basically a stable environment for 4 billion years. That's how long it took for the amoebas and specks and whatever to evolve into humans, about 4 billion years. And he's like, it is very possible that 4 billion years of stable, like life providing planets is rare. When we look around, other planets have more comets, and the suns get bigger and smaller, and the climates change in dramatic ways. And Earth has been pretty much stable for a third of the universe's existence. That doesn't happen much. That's why we're not talking to other people.
Could be true.
I'm only as good as my source, but I bought into it, and he's very convincing. He says it better than me.
I think that in that case, I think I've seen that video. He was addressing the answer that what they call the Fermi paradox. About how theoretically, if the universe is infinite, that means there's infinite planets with infinite stages of life, and some of them out there should be able to manipulate what we call space-time. Surely, so I think it would have been. I would have imagined that was theorizing. I remember that, but I love Brian Cox, man. That dude is completely awesome. He explains things in a really great way. He's become a big favorite of mine over Neil deGrasse lately for the way that he breaks things down. I do remember that clip, and he said, and he also pointed out that in 4 billion years of a constant chain of life on Earth, we don't have the technology to leave our solar system yet, despite having 4 entire billion years of a chain. Now, that being said, we had a mass extinction event that happened, and life kind of started over. Yeah, true. We've got a lot.
I think when you say, so everything he said, I'm sure makes sense and is true. The only thing that I would say is like, I think the Earth had a bunch of, I think for like 1.5 billion years, it was like on fire, like molten.
At the beginning.
It was a while before the surface wasn't just a big molten pool of rock. And then it's because at some point something hit us and became the moon. Like something big hit us and we coalesced, and then a blob came off and became the moon. We know it did. They can. It's fun. There's questions. They're like, well, how do they know? How do they know how big it was? Well, because if it had been any bigger, it would have hit our core and stolen that iron away. But there's no iron. The moon doesn't have an iron core, so they know it didn't penetrate what we would think of as like the proto-Earth, the first Earth before it got hit. So to go all the way to the core.
Is the moon the thing that hit us, or is the moon a piece of Earth, or a little of both? Are there elements? I'm asking. I don't know how to ask my stupid question, but are there things on the moon that you don't get from Earth because they came from a meteorite?
I would assume so.
I don't know anything about that, but I've seen a simulation, like a computer simulation of like what they think it would have looked like. And you just got like a smaller ball hitting a bigger ball, but then they just become this weird flowy mass of like molten glass, and then a blob sort of like flicks off and slowly falls into an orbit. It was really.
Would the Earth still be like so nice and round after that collision?
Gravity does that.
Rounder,
like the whole thing like moltenified and then went back into a sphere again.
Yeah, well, there's plate tectonics as well, right? So
of course, plate tectonics.
It's all always eating itself and replenishing, right? Well, I mean, how plate tectonics work. That's not. Don't act like that's above anybody's head.
I didn't think about how that.
Yeah,
would
I think Josh knows though.
like
with gravity, like if you take something in zero gravity, like a drop of water in zero gravity, it's going to form a sphere as it just floats there.
Yeah.
A video I saw about it also demonstrated something similar to what Kyle's talking about, and it was like they slow-moed a drop of water, and they showed that when the drop hits, it sinks deep down into it, but then there's that splashback, if you will. And they said that basically the same thing would have happened with a planet, and that's why you see spikes in the middle of craters on the moon and stuff like that, and probably something similar on. Oh, okay, here we go. Is that the one you were talking about, Kyle?
What? Yeah. Well, I mean, more or less.
Yeah. Now it's gonna get its own gravity.
Maybe because of like the quality that it looks.
Yeah.
So did a lot of these form into like that belt of what is it called? The Kuiper belt? Is that like the
Kuiper belt
that's around us, or super far away?
I don't think so.
The Kuiper belt is the one that's super, super duper far away. I don't know how.
Do we not have many asteroids? We don't have.
There's
many
a big
hanging
belt.
Out around us.
So don't think belt or like a congested thing of them, like in Star Trek. But between Mars and Jupiter, there is a sphere of asteroids, not a ring of asteroids that's going around the solar plane with us. But it's a loosely packed. You could, when you see them navigating asteroid fields and you see they're everywhere, that's just crazy silliness.
It doesn't take an exceptionally good Starfleet pilot to navigate the asteroid fields in real life.
Miles and miles apart. like you wouldn't see one from the other probably.
If you were moving at like relative speeds.
You need a telescope and like some knowledge to figure out.
Well, they're at impulse speed, so that's not that fast.
I think I don't know how fast impulse speed is.
That kind of sucks. We only get one moon.
They do though. There's a handbook that lays all that stuff out.
I think even Mars has multiple moons, and we're a one moon bullshit.
We're
planet.
a 3-moon planet.
Oh shit!
We have 3 now.
We have 3.
Impulse speed is 167 million miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
You seem confident about it. Okay, what are the other moons' names? There's the moon.
Well, you don't even know the first moon's name.
The moon.
Luna.
Luna.
You know what the sun's name is?
Eddie.
Also Luna.
No.
Sol.
Sol. S-O-L, right?
It's a solar system.
We have 3 moons. There's no fucking way. This is like one of those Berenstain.
Why are you Googling not betting then?
Because I don't.
Wait, are you saying Earth has 3 moons?
3.
No less than 3.
I'm gonna go to the bathroom while you look up the 3 moons.
No less than 3. Josh, you seem to know about this. How do we miss the other 2?
Google says 1.
He's got his headset off, so I'm just going to say I'm buying into the troll. I don't know anything about any extra moons, unless there's like a technical definition of like a large satellite. Maybe he's referring to, I'm just throwing this out there, James Webb Space Telescope and Hubble.
Oh, shit.
Maybe he's like loophole definition. You know, a satellite is a moon. Rather than a moon being a satellite.
After more than half a century of speculation, it has been confirmed that Earth has 2 dust moons orbiting it. Which are 9 times wider than our planet. What? That's not a moon like I know of.
Wait, what?
That is bullshit. That is a technicality. That's not a moon.
Is it orbiting Earth or is it orbiting the sun? What's it orbiting around?
Let me look more carefully. I thought it was Earth.
Well, I mean, I guess everything's revolving around the sun in the solar system, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it says Earth has 2 dust moons orbiting it. So the direct object is Earth.
Where would those have come from? Why didn't they
dust
coalesce into a real moon? Because these are not. That is bullshit. These do not count. 100% they do not count as moons. Are we going to say Jupiter has fucking 10,000 moons because I got a bunch of dust around there? We have to have a line, folks.
Saturn has infinity moons because it's a ring, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. You can't count every speck of that as a moon. A moon has to be something you could land on. Like, if you can't land on it, then like we're just doing fucking nonsense here.
Could we possibly argue you should at least be able to see the moon you're referring to from the surface of the planet that you're talking about?
I think that's fair too. Like otherwise, it's like that's so far away. Is that even ours? Like,
yeah, that's the moons. Really that's the sun's. That doesn't belong to us. We're not claiming that.
Okay, well, let's not say that we looked this up, and then I'll take Kyle's bet. And
yeah.
Now that he knows,
I'll take your bet. There's 1 moon. By the way, rule set: dust moons don't count.
Dust moons do not count.
We discussed amongst ourselves the rules of the moon.
There's no way that like astronomers even are set on this moon definition of dust moons.
We've got grounds to make an argument.
Just a big cluster of dust and nonsense gets to count as a moon. That's stupid.
I mean,
same way Pluto should be a planet.
Is the atmosphere a gas moon? It's going around Earth. I mean,
yeah.
We have a gaseous moon too. It completely envelops us. Who knew, man? Wow, it's called the atmosphere.
Yeah, we got 5 moons. Just for fucking the words don't mean anything anymore. Just throw moons around.
I want there to be like a bitter war between astronomers and people who follow astrology, like like vax and anti-vax people, and just totally fucking go with your gut.
They should. You should. I mean, this is definitely a gut thing. There's no fucking way you can't just count a cloud as a moon. We all have an understanding of what moons are. The Kordaluski cloud or whatever. I already closed that window, but that's what it said it was. And it was way further away than our moon. And it was just a pith, like a little cum stain in the blackness of space.
Isn't everything just a little cum stain in the blackness of space?
Yes, that is what's his face, that guy that Wings likes a lot, would say. We are all just cum stains in the blackness of space.
You don't like Carl Sagan?
Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about him. Yeah, Carl Sagan. I remembered what he sounded like, kind of. But I don't really remember anything about him.
What was that special? It's
Cosmos.
Cosmos, thank you.
Hey.
I loved when they remade Cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson. I love that so much. If you want to learn some sciencey space stuff, get real high and enjoy yourself, there's animated parts of that where he goes back to some Italian inventor who was trying to finance a thing. It's good. It's educational.
It's amazing.
I mean, it works for all kids ages 8 and up. It's great.
I decided I'll take your bet, $10 million.
There are definitely 3 moons.
Not according to I don't know. I haven't Googled it just now. So, so I couldn't possibly know that. I'm going.
You didn't Google it. That's why you upped the ante to 10 million.
Yeah.
Yes. Gigantic dust moons don't count for the purposes of this bet.
Yes.
But we definitely didn't.
Says,
we were gone.
Because they're not.
And by the way, don't go back and watch it.
Yeah,
that would be cheating.
There's definitely 2 more moons. I'm sure of it. I saw that. Who was gonna? I think Prada is designing the NASA's new spacesuit. I'm almost positive that's accurate. You want to bet me on that one?
Can they just go back to the moon? Can they just go back to the fucking moon instead of getting stylish with it?
I totally believe you.
I mean, they need some new drip to go to the moon, man.
They design shit, you know?
They need a moon outfit
in 2025.
Who would you? I mean, I'm hearing Prada, and I'm like, it sucks. Don't they make ridiculous? I want Tommy Hilfiger to make it. Aren't they the people that did the Nazi uniforms?
No, Hugo Boss.
So.
Hugo Boss. I'm sorry, take it back. That's who I want. Hugo Boss to design the spacesuit.
I'd be okay with a Carhartt spacesuit. You know, if I'm going to space, I want Carhartt involved.
Tell me you're Southern without telling me you're Southern.
I want a spacesuit that's there for the long haul. It might not be stylish, but it's going to keep me alive on the moon.
So Prada is designing these. That's not even cool.
Why are we surrendering right away, Prada?
That's a French astronaut.
Fucking losers.
They got
let them know it's for the American space program, not the French.
Yeah, the white flag.
Yeah, I mean, we've been had if these are our new
I don't like the stripes.
Uniforms.
It needs some you know what? If I were to design a spacesuit, it would have stripes that give the astronauts a nice V shape.
Yeah, taper that waist.
Mm-hmm.
They look like sloppy idiots up there.
These guys look like Brock Lesnar without muscles.
I want them to have some.
That looks more like what I was expecting.
That's definitely better. Oh wait, this is China.
This looks like what the villains wear for sure. I don't like this a bit. Like that looks like the bad guy in a video.
There's the green guys,
right? Yeah, he's got too many eyes.
Too many eyes.
Yeah,
it's just glass.
I see. I don't know. I see 3 little light things. I'm thinking they're eyes.
Well, that would be embarrassing if we paid Prada to design our moon uniforms, and China, who is probably just beating people until they design something they like, and they have better ones than us.
And they look sick, and we look like
nerds.
They
look cool, and we look like stupid nerds. That's exactly right, Josh.
On the moon?
Yeah, we don't want to be nerds. Already, every astronaut is a fucking nerd.
Exactly.
So we need to make sure that they look cool up there, so they inspire.
We need to go back. No more scientists. Let's bring on the test pilots.
Yeah, let's teach oil drillers to go to the moon.
Genius idea.
That's a good idea. Lumberjacks, like a cooler class of people. You just send 1 or 2 of those guys up with the astronauts. They handle the boring math, and then you have a compelling story of a normal guy traipsing about.
There's no way they do math up there. There's no way they do math up there. There's just no fucking way.
You don't think so?
And if they had some math to do, I mean, I call a guy who can do math, right?
All the guys on Earth with the calculators.
Like, why do we need the math guy in the space capsule? Is all I'm saying.
I guess you're right.
I have fun as me as an astronaut where this is the worst astronaut we've ever had. Whenever there's a problem, he just defines it as incalculable and moves on.
Yeah. Well, he covered every wall of the International Space Station in incomprehensibly dumb math.
Traveler's log.
A lot of multiplication signs. It's like just like what a child would do. It's 9 times 11 divided by 4 plus 6. It's just the basics. Just the basic
long
that anyone can do with order of operations. Look at this spaceman. Astronaut, probably. But look at him. Look at him crawling outside the space station looking at Earth. That is so scary.
This scares you?
Yeah, dude, I don't want to be on the outside.
I would give anything to do this.
No, dude, I do not want to be on the outside in space.
I would cut off your face and wear it to the interview if that's what they needed me to do.
Why do they want me?
I don't know, but they wanted me to wear your face.
Now, we're trying to make sure that the future astronauts are all retarded streamers. You fit the qualification.
Oh, no, they wouldn't want you. They wouldn't be fooled by my tailor mask disguise.
No, we do have triple XL helmets. I'm glad you asked.
I feel like
imagine it fitting very poorly.
Oh, that's just scary. Going on, just you're floating in space at that point. When you let go, you're just floating in space.
Fuck yeah.
All of fucking eternity is out there when you look out. That's
I guess
scary.
This guy agrees with you. He goes, "Why is this so terrifying to watch? It looks like the pinnacle of a life to me. Like
oh my god, dude,
I would do this.
Yeah,
what you would do this?
What?
You would. You're an adrenaline junkie. A fucking cork. Woody would do anything like this.
They're fucking buckled in, dude. Like they're not out there on their own.
And if they do it right. You know, you have to clip in, and they have 2 clips, right? So you unclip one as you clip in the next, and that's how you move from place to place.
Oh, thank God!
And they have jetpacks too. Some of them.
I thought they were mostly like space parkouring, like jumping to a different. That's
parkour.
Your way is funnier.
My imagination of what space work is like is so much scarier than reality. Oh man, that's scary, dude. I would not want to fuck around with that shit. Although I guess if you're up that high, are you kind of no? I mean, the space station or whatever it's in, it's not big enough to pull you back in or anything with gravity. Like you're fucked if you slip out of reach.
You're just gonna float until you run out of oxygen, and then you're going to asphyxiate.
What a horrifying way to die. Can you imagine something worse than that? I would rather be burned to death, drowned to death, than sent into space to suffocate. Think about that, because you would have so much time for existential dread.
That's at the top of my list, honestly. Like it's really high up there on best ways to go. Over drowning and burning alive. Are you kidding me? Melting, feeling your flesh melt off your body.
You don't melt to death. When you burn alive, you suffocate on the hot oxygen way before.
If you're lucky.
I'm going to be taking big boy breaths.
You're like huffing the flames at your ankles. Hey, he's trying to cheat.
Oh, now we must disembowel him as punishment for not
embracing. No. I'll hold my breath. Too late. Get the knives. No, that would be. I mean, I wouldn't enjoy floating out into space to asphyxiate, but it's not the worst thing. I'd much rather do that than drown or burn.
At least if you're drowning, you're on Earth.
How is that a plus?
Well, because you're not spooked being out in space.
Again, how is that a plus? I would prefer to die in space.
I don't know about that, man.
Yeah, if I had to choose a place to die, it would be outer space.
Dude, I would love to see the candid camera of you 0.6 seconds after you get disconnected, where it's just trying to breaststroke back to the fucking thing, and you're just pushing yourself
that's not
back.
Me. I'm doggy paddle for sure.
You're doggy paddling back to it. Just that'd be so scary.
Yeah, it would
just
be awful.
Knowing you're gonna die and that you are floating out into an abyss.
Yeah, there's that scene in Event Horizon where the one guy gets flung off the ship. I think it's the black guy, and he's just flying through space, and he's like, "Oh shit, and he's just like spinning off into oblivion. Yeah, I mean, it's not a fun way to go, but it's not painful at least.
You're pretty sure
the CO2 level. Yeah, but the CO2 levels are just going to slowly rise until you go unconscious. It's not like you're just out of air.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, as far as pain is concerned, that's way better. But
yeah, I think you just. I mean, I guess it
depends. How long does it take you to run out of oxygen? Hours?
I would guess less than 2 hours.
That's a long time to be spinning in space.
Yeah, but it's a great view.
Of what? Of the Earth?
Space.
Of the Earth 1 second out of 60 as you're...
Oh, no. If you're spinning uncontrollably, that is a horrific way to die. You're just vomiting into your helmet continuously.
That's fucking...
You're just... I can't see anything. I'm going to eat the vomit. I want to be able to see. And then you're just vomiting. Your vomit's vomit.
Your vomit's vomit.
Your vomit's vomit. Yeah, if you're spinning uncontrollably, that is a nightmarish way to die. Absolutely. That's torturous. But no, I would absolutely do that fucking spacewalk. I would love to do that. That would be...
Have you gone cool skydiving yet?
No,
never done that.
That seems... put that on the adventure tour, right? Find a little
Taylor goes, I'll go.
So there's two ways to go. I think I mentioned this before. So
Son of a bitch.
Fast forward. You can take all day training, and then when you jump out, you have your own parachute, and there's people holding like your arms and legs so that because you might suck at it. The other thing you can do, and this is what I did. You walk up, you're like, nah, I'll just go Baby Bjorn style. Shockingly, like 7 minutes later, you're on a plane. You know, they attach you to the front of the dude tandem.
Oh, okay.
Like, you know what a Baby Bjorn is.
Your little spoon.
Your little spoon. Yeah, you're the little spoon. And I was really surprised. Like, they're like, all right, then just head to the back. And they're dressing me in the like diving outfit. And it's like, so there's no lessons or anything. They, you know, like, they'll tell you on the way up. And they kept teaching me shit I needed to know like 15 seconds before I needed to know it. Like, we're scooching to the door and he's like, all right, so this is how you get out.
Oh, you mean I just fall towards the earth? Okay, I can do that.
And there's a little posture and stuff to know. And
like as you're jumping out the door, he's like, you didn't take any aspirin before this, did you? Woo!
He's giving me hand signals that we never covered. He's like, all right. Like hand jiving and shit. And
he's like the third base coach, just
but it was really fun.
More and more stress in his face that you're not responding.
So we're landing and we're coming in at this sign. This sign is immovable, right? It's bolted into the ground. It's a lighting fixture for an airport. And I'm like, we're close to the sign. Like, are we going to hit this thing? And we stop and we land in front of the sign by like 3 feet. Now, this guy's done 7,000 jumps. So I'm like, well, it's probably exactly what he meant to do. And then the other people land. And the other instructor, who's also done like, he's like, dude, that was close. I knew it. I knew it was close.
You were vindicated.
It's like, Skeletor, you're a madman. You were so close on that run.
But
that guy was okay with that? You're just like...
Yeah,
I had no idea I was jumping with Skeletor.
But
the only way I could do it is if I was strapped onto a responsible person's chest.
Oh yeah, the responsible people they've got that jump out of airplanes 5 times a day over at
you know what, you're right, I'm not gonna do it.
No, Taylor, we can do it that way. Ask the dude how many jumps he's had, because it's always some insane number. 7,000.
Dude, I
don't worry, Taylor's going to do it, because when you and I go to the jump school and we wave goodbye to Taylor with our GoPros rolling, he's going to realize that he has made a horrible mistake.
Dude, I do get scared of heights. I would not. I can't imagine looking out the side of a plane.
Dude, Taylor.
Like, all right, time to.
The worst part of the whole experience was when they weighed me first. I'm like, you know, I got like a Leatherman in my pocket. You know.
Oh no!
No, I'm a big lunch.
You know,
dude, if they're gonna weigh me, I'm not comfortable with it.
These are boots. You know, these are boots I'm wearing. I'm way lighter in flip flops.
Dude, I can make a million theories about something that will never happen within the window of human existence.
Yeah, make one.
Yeah, actually, the black holes are gaining energy, Mr. Hawking, and it's called Taylor radiation.
You know, when is it you've hit the peak of your bell curve? Or maybe just, maybe you even do want to enjoy the downslide a little bit, but not all of it. Not the tail end.
It depends, you know, like I think everybody's got a different bell curve. Some people peak, you know, toward the end. I would argue that like William Shatner's like 90, or how old is he? Like 99 or something stupid. Like he went to space last year.
I'll find out.
That's got to be pretty cool. Well, that's because that billionaire sprayed alcohol on him, and all he could ponder was his dead wife who was killed by a drunk driver, and the infiniteness of space and how alone we are.
He's 92.
I think it was the infinite abyss of space where he's like,
couldn't
oh
help.
my God, I'm so close to the end. Like going to space at 99, bad
92.
move. 92.
Well, he's 92 now, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What did he say about space? That it was depressing? That it was just boring?
Something about
there's
emptiness.
Boring.
It's empty. There's nothing out here. There's nothing for us. It's just this world. That's it. Like that was kind of his takeaway.
It feels like he's right, doesn't it?
He's right.
Of course he's right.
All the other planets suck. They're really just dog. If our solar system was a neighborhood, we're in the one nice house. The rest of it's trash.
The idea that we should take Mars and like colonize it as a backup planet in case we ruin this one. There is no universe in which Mars is a better starting point than Earth for humans.
Yeah,
for fixing things. Like I do like the idea, however, of like being somewhere else, even if it is shitty. You know, it's a storm shelter of a planet. Like maybe the Earth gets hit and like fucked up for a generation or two, but there's enough people underground living in some shit city on Mars that the Earth they're looking at satellite readings. The Earth seems to have stabilized. The oceans have receded. Let's fly back or something. Like maybe that. But Venus seems better for that. Whenever I hear them talk about Venus, they say that
terrible.
No. So up in the if you're on the ground, it's like 900 degrees. It melts lead down there. But up high in the atmosphere, there's a layer in the atmosphere that you could kind of open the window and you wouldn't die instantly. There's like a level of atmosphere.
I'm sold.
You're really selling
this is his example of the best we've got.
There's a whole
if you're 30,000 feet up, you can briefly open a window and not immediately asphyxiate.
Hear me out. Well, I mean, Mars is worse.
I mean, you'll want to flush out all the sulfur and like I don't know.
No, you get out of the sulfur layer.
No, but Woody, you don't understand. Once we've excavated Mars and Venus in a way that far outpaces even what we've done on our own planet for our entire existence, it'll be smooth sailing, nice.
There's no terraforming. There's
what are we going to do? Live in tents?
You would live in airships on Venus is what the plan would be.
Well, then why not just live on a ship that's floating around the Earth?
Because you want to go to another planet and explore it, Taylor. Like you're the guy who stays home when Christopher Columbus takes off. Why don't you just stay here?
No,
where you going?
The existence of islands and shit, they knew they would find something neat.
What kind of fucking Italian are you?
Not one.
Yeah. I wouldn't want to go to Venus or fucking Mars. Like maybe if it was like For All Mankind, that seems like a pretty decent Mars to go check out. They've got like porn and pussy and alcohol and rovers and shit. Like it seems like a good time.
They have.
You're living it seems better than being an American nuclear submariner to me. Like you've got
glamping, basically. They're basically living as rough as somebody with a tow behind RV would live.
Mm-hmm.
With high stakes, shitty living. You can't just pull over at a Buc-ee's. Like you die.
Well, I mean, sure.
Yes,
wrong. But all right. I get your point. But
what do you think, Chris? Are there any good planets, or do we need to we need to take care of this one we're on, right?
Some would say. Yeah, honestly, just keep moving inward. Just like Ben Shapiro said, you just sell your house if you live down on the coast, and everything will be fine.
Yes,
you just move up to Iowa.
To who? A fishery? Like, who's gonna buy my house that's gonna be under 8 meters of water?
I know, right? Like, yeah, honestly, that's why I like living in the Midwest, because I feel like I'm safe for now. Until the atmosphere catches on fire or whatever is going to happen when we are living on other planets. But yeah, that's what my plan is, to just stay put for now.
I think that's smart. And since we're Midwest boys, like we've got like a century lead time, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like if New York starts going underwater, we got forever. That's their problem.
Dude, they were
by you
until we're like Shatter Age at least.
I don't know what the elevation is. I know I saw this graph of sea level, and we get fucked up by the Mississippi way faster than you would think. Like I guess that big river getting out of control creates a lot of basins, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think we're going to suddenly be in some weird archipelago water world.
Taylor, you're at 466 feet. Like I'm at 290. Like just because you're inland a lot doesn't mean you're right.
I don't know. I see that map. There's a lot of land, and that's how it works. No, you're right. Like when I started doing that graph, I'm like, we're safe, and it's like,
I'm 1,000 feet.
You're higher
than Northern Illinois at.
I'm higher than either of you. It's 1,000 feet here in Atlanta.
And you're in Illinois. Okay, so Chris, you're going to get fucked up by the Mississippi too, or the Great Lakes. I don't know how that would work.
Apparently, Stephen Hawking's dick got hard and worked.
That dog.
That
investigative journalism
monster. Yes, that monster. He was using his crippled penis on all those poor victims.
Yeah, I guess he probably needed a guy to help him get laid.
I mean, he just
Really? You think he's got the Riz? He types into his fucking ColecoVision. Yeah, baby, you look stunning.
Dude, every woman wants to fuck a light bright. And that's exactly what he is.
Poor guy.
You just make him festive. Yeah. That's,
if we get a great mind like Stephen Hawking, isn't it worth it?
Was he even smart? What was he up to? What was he really figuring out? I bet there were real science. I bet he was a Steve Jobs. I bet there were real scientists behind the scenes.
Radiation escaped from black holes and
Hawking radiation. They named it after the man.
Yeah,
because
and that means that black holes
guy.
will eventually shrink and just like dissipate instead of just collecting.
They're losing energy. Yeah,
they're losing energy and giving it back out, and they'll eventually go away.
Dude, I can make a million theories about something that will never happen within the window of human existence.
Yeah, make one.
Yeah, actually, the black holes are gaining energy, Mr. Hawking, and it's called Taylor radiation. You dumb head retard, you fucking legless dumbass. Oh, and you can't test it because it's a billion jillion miles away, and it's dark matter.
You think you're so smart? Well, let's arm wrestle. See who's right.
You think you're so smart? I'll beat the shit out of you. I would have held him in the surf.
Rip your shirt off.
I would have held his limp body in the surf at St. James Island and bullied him. And I would have been like, hey, where are the real scientists, you fucking Steve Jobs piece of shit? You didn't come up with anything.
Is that right, Stephen Hawking? The good news is you're here at St. James Island. You're about to get fucked. The bad news is it's Taylor.
What if he was part of the offering there? Right? It was like some rich sheik, and they're like, we have all these underage kids for you, and at your request, a crippled man from Manchester born in the 30s.
You think she's soft? Where do you meet Stephen Hawking?
Wait till you meet Stephen Hawking.
No muscle mass at all.
Dude, he's the veal of partners. he's got no muscle mass. Soft as
47-year-old veal.
Yeah, covered in bed sores on his bony ass. You fuck Stephen Hawking. That guy sucks.
Hot take.
He's dead.
I'm glad.
You're right. That guy sucked.
He did suck. You're not making any points, Kyle.
I like Stephen Hawking. He was in an episode of Star Trek. It was pretty fun. Really? He always had a sense of humor. Yeah, there's like Data goes into the holodeck and he's like, give me I want to talk to Einstein, Stephen Hawking, and I don't know, Socrates or somebody, Da Vinci, whatever. And they just bring Stephen Hawking in instead of getting an actor.
Was it next gen?
Yeah.
I don't remember it. That's like saying I like Johnny Depp. He was in Walking Dead.
I think they play poker. That's what it is. He's playing poker with Einstein, and Hawking has this little robo hand holding his cards up for him or whatever, and he's cracking jokes, of course, because apparently
Johnny Depp was in Walking Dead. He played a decapitated head for just a few seconds.
Oh, that's neat. I had one of my girlfriend's friends was in. It was actually in the episode where Merle dies. If you remember back then.
Well, I don't remember exactly how it went down, but sure, I remember that.
Yeah, it was during.
He died heroically in an outpost of some sort. Yeah,
he I think the governor was about to kill all of our main characters, and maybe Merle shows up and was like, "No, you won't," or whatever, and died trying. But she's in that scene because she's. Some girls have big eyes. She had some big eyes. She's just got these peepers. And when they put those contacts in there, there's like a muddy brownish yellow. And she goes, ah. It was like, fuck, you're a really good zombie. This is great. I think
that's cool.
They were hanging out at Norman Reedus's bar, because Daryl has a bar down there where they filmed the stuff. And I think that they met the casting director or somebody like that. And he was like, your eyes, madam. And ended up getting on the show. It was cool.
I used to work with a woman who had really big eyes, just extraordinarily large. You could practically see the backside of them. And she told me that when she was a baby, they were all talking about how adorable she was because she had these big eyes. And I didn't say anything, but in my heart, I was like, they're not attractive at all. Why even bringing attention to those eyeballs? It's weird.
You feel like you're a head injury away from that thing popping out like a fucking dog. You ever see those little dogs? Its heads are head to eyeball ratio was off. It's like
bug-eyed. Was she bug-eyed?
Yeah, she was bug-eyed and just it was like her eyebrow. Is this part of your body called like a crown or something?
Brow.
It was too high. Brow, okay. And her, help me again, cheeks, upper cheeks were too low. It was just this huge pocket for her bug eyes that were too far forward. And it's just a lot.
There's this, I don't know what you call it, syndrome, disease, whatever, that causes your eyes to like bulge, not get bigger, I don't think, but maybe. But they bulge. To Barbara's, there's an actress. She's that curly headed, like, is it Barbara Streisand?
Very old.
There's an actress who has it. She's in that movie with the baseball movie where they're fucking the old catcher and everything. Anyway, I think it's Barbara Streisand. But I had a makeup artist who had the same thing, and he was explaining to me that, like, yep, no cure. They just keep getting bigger and bigger and bulging more and more. And his eyes were like coming at you already. I was like, man,
that sucks.
Gonna pop. Yeah, I don't remember what it's called.
Always looks like someone locked you in the depressurizing chamber in space. You're about to. There was a lunch lady who was bug-eyed at my middle school, and it kind of spooked me. I do remember that.
Yeah. They always get space depressurization wrong. I'm pretty sure we exist at like 1 psi or something.
No.
And then, go ahead. Do you know this better than me? I feel like if I opened the door to a spacecraft, no one would get sucked out.
We will not get sucked out. It will absolutely do exactly what. Oh, now I don't know about a door. That's going to be a whoosh, but like the same way in an airliner. But if there's like a pinhole, then you just stick your thumb over it. Like in Alien Resurrection, there's a part where they kill the alien by making a hole in the like glass window with some acid, and it like sucks the alien, spaghettifies it through that hole until it's disemboweled and sucked. Nothing like that. You stick your thumb right over it, like it's like a piece of gum, whatever. Because we're at like, I think 1 atmosphere is, I'm gonna get this wrong, 12 or 13 psi or something like that. It's a really fun experiment. You can take an aluminum can, put a little bit of liquid in it, grab it with some tongs, put it over your burner, get it boiling in there so it's creating steam that's traveling up through it, and then upend it very quickly into like a basin of water, just so that the top is submerged, and you've created a vacuum inside of there because that steam was present, but now that it's cooled down, the steam's gone and a vacuum is inside there. So just the atmospheric pressure that we exist in here, that's pressing on us all the time that we don't notice, crushes the fuck out.
I believe you, but I would not qualify that as a very fun experiment.
You can do it to a 55-gallon drum though, and the whole drum goes.
That's pretty neat.
They tried that on Mythbusters, and it didn't. Like, they had to like do a lot of extra work to get it to
the
tanker to crumple. It was I think it was a I don't know if it was like a Breaking Bad one that they did, but they were trying to like get a tanker to collapse on itself to like wherever the submarine, like the implode. And they had to do a lot of extra work. They had to get like a really weak tanker because they just kept trying to, like, with steam, pressurize this tanker to the point where it would just crumple on itself. And they had to do a whole bunch of extra stuff to get it to do it. But
you can do it with barrels, you can do it with cans. I think it is.
You know what? I have a neat experiment. Taylor might not call it very fun, but hear me out on this. You have a campfire and you have a bottle of water, right? This is a plastic bottle like you get at every gas station. If you put this bottle of water in the campfire, it won't melt. It doesn't burn. You would think it would. The water will boil, and the part that doesn't have water in it will go away. So it'll become like a cup. But as the water evaporates, the bottle drains. But the water only gets to 212 degrees. That's it. So it keeps the plastic cool enough that it doesn't like melt and spill out the bottom.
Okay.
I've done it many times.
Now, Kyle, that's what you call real.
Yeah, Kyle, get on my level.
Okay, I was just crushing barrels with the power of the gravity that's sucking air down onto
it. Good noob.
Chris, hit us with a real fun experiment.
You do, Chris.
You came to the right guy.
Something about ghosts.
I used to light Q-tips on fire in my basement with petroleum jelly.
400 in a row, flammable. You know, we're learning.
And it just keeps on going. Everyone.
Still just as beautiful and entrancing as ever.
It was either that or it was like lighting axe cans on fire in a ditch.
Yeah,
every problem I bring to her, she solves with Vaseline. I'm like, not even like Neospore. This feels like 1930s technology.
Yeah,
she's like, it's never been beaten.
Little Windex, Vaseline. Spigot and span, you're good to go. That's how you.
Wait, Windex and Vaseline. What are we doing?
Remember what was that fucking movie? I can't believe I remember this. My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Okay,
that was the movie where the Greek old lady was like, "What do you do for like a cough? Windex. What do you do for a rash? Windex. No matter what, little Windex on you, you're good to go."
Yes, it's vinegar.
In some places, it's butter. They put butter on everything. I don't know what culture that is, but it's
France.
It's the South.
Sounds southern.
Yeah, we were a Vaseline family, not a Windows family.
What would you use the Vaseline for?
My mom used it for taking makeup off. And so we just had a giant tub of it in the bathroom. And then I, of course, would use it for science. Lighting Q-tips on fire.
Oh, I thought
that's about it.
I thought you meant jacking off.
Masturbate with Vaseline. Oh my god!
Try.
What a
Dude,
slow.
When you're 12, you're just
when
you're 12, you're just trying stuff, man.
You built some muscle jerking with
12.
Vaseline. That's too viscous.
Did you guys talk about the ninth planet or whatever they call it?
The Pluto we're talking about?
No. The new one.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Kyle,
you picked another one?
Yeah, so Taylor says we're down to 8. I think we might be getting to 10 or something.
So what they're saying is that there are massive what do you call them?
Exoplanets.
Celestial bodies is the word I was looking for. That are outside but still inside of our solar system, but they're really, really far away. Yeah. And then the models they were making for like how our solar system is moving around were showing that something wasn't right. And if they put a massive planet, or massive, it's very big for us humans, in this simulation, it worked. So they've theorized about this new planet, which takes like 20,000 years for one loop around the sun, and it doesn't even get anywhere close to Pluto, but they still think it exists, and it would be like in another planet.
They've been cool. That's not. I feel like, I mean, not that I don't care about what you just said, but I feel like nobody cares because that was like that when I was doing the solar system diagram in like elementary school, like that was known then. We were talking about it then. They were calling it Planet X. And
Pluto, that's what they call it now. Still, Planet X.
Yeah,
right?
And Pluto was still a planet back then. But I think what you're saying is they looked at the orbits of all the known planets. They can map those very accurately, and then but there was some deviation that could only be caused by
Planet X,
by some extra gravity out there by another planet. Yeah, there's no telling how many planets are out there.
When did they?
So they're saying that there are 12 planets now if the resolution is passed. So in order: Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars. Then comes Ceres, Ceres. Then Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, Charon, and
my what?
Ceres and Charon.
Obviously, 2003 UB313.
I didn't capture those Pokemon. My Pokédex is not full, so I am not familiar with Ceres or Charon.
Charon. How would you pronounce that?
And
Charon.
I'm not saying you.
Wait, no. That's
I mean, I'm just saying, like
Charon or whatever that is. That's a moon of Pluto's, isn't it? Aren't they in like a binary system?
Probably, but they hype these things up.
I mean, don't tell me like I don't know that.
Yeah, we're like the one. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm joking. No, I don't know, Taylor. Around. This is all new information to me. I could look it up.
They hype like a Planet X up as if there's like alien life on there, but there's gonna be absolutely nothing on there. It's gonna be a frozen planet. And
that's what the colonists want you to believe.
That's what they want you to believe. And if you show up there, what you're going to find is the last remaining Radio Shack. Yeah, it turns out Charon is part of a moon system with Pluto.
Yeah.
So how does Pluto get the axe when they're throwing its moon in the mix?
Well, according to this resolution, Pluto is back. And Charon maybe as the, what did you call it? Bi something planets?
Like I thought it was called like a binary thing.
Yeah, maybe if they rotate around each other,
I don't know.
One isn't the moon and they're just both planets.
Okay.
I made that up, but it seems to make sense.
No, I choose to believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then.
And
in any case,
2003 UB313, that one.
That's my favorite.
In any case, I love all those documentaries about fucking space and the universe and all that stuff. And,
would you guys go to Mars if SpaceX does their thing?
No, because I think that anybody look, I think we've been asked this question before, and I said yeah. But like it would.
Would you go to the North Pole?
Yeah, that's way closer.
Yeah, I'd go to the North Pole because they'd let me come back.
I feel like asking if you go to Mars is parallel to asking,
not a 2-year mission.
Would you like to commit suicide in a really fantastic way?
Yeah. First of all, like I watched a clip the other day, and it was I don't remember which astronaut, but it was an astronaut who had been in space for 172 days, I want to say, which is roughly 6 months.
Yeah.
The trip to Mars is about 7 months.
Yeah.
All right. This guy was walking like he had cerebral palsy or something. Like it was an incredible struggle for him. He was being assisted. No, but he had this like thing attached to him, and he had like helpers on either side. It looked like physical therapy for someone who had received a serious spinal injury, and someday he was fighting. He's like, they said I'd never walk again, but look at this.
See, that's the Lord telling us to stay in our lane.
First of all, God, all things are possible. It looked like he said that
jot
right
that down.
before he.
I didn't mean that.
Okay, so
I gave you this whole planet.
I feel like we all agree on going to Mars is a little bit of a crazy mission. Would you guys go to the moon? You know, a little flyby.
Oh yeah.
Would you do that?
So here, the reason I wouldn't go to Mars
Fly
is
by the moon.
Yeah, you know, no, they're selling tickets for that. Where a rocket just cruises around the moon, comes back, and lands. Hopefully.
Yeah, of course I would do that because that to me seems really safe. But the moon thing, it seems like landing is going to be a real bitch, right? They got to use these retrograde rockets, like Elon Musk uses to re-land his
SpaceX
his
Falcon,
rockets,
whatever.
SpaceX rocket things. You might just not make it. All right, and if they do make it, you're going to be all like, unless they've got like a gym on board that thing with like that where there's a spinning gravity thing.
That's what they're
Kyle,
looking at
those
now,
things
right?
work like 2/3 of the time. What are you worried about?
How long does it take to get to the moon with a rocket?
Like
Depends
6-7
how fast
days
you
or
go.
something, right?
Really depends how fast you go. If
It's
you
250,000 miles, I think.
if you have
close.
enough fuel, if you have a big enough rocket, you could do it in no time, right? You could do it in a day.
I don't want to rush there. I want to go safely.
About 3 days, according to Google.
There you go.
But that's the Apollo mission, so one might guess they're faster now, but I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Have you guys ever played Kerbal Space Program?
No, but it interests me.
Great thing. So it really depends on the fuel you have. What's your plan? A flyby, or do you want to land there, right? Like, I think one of those SpaceX rockets that can go to Mars can probably go to the moon within a day and back. If not faster, who knows? Like, if you have the fuel, you can keep on accelerating.
You have to
You
slow down.
You slingshot around that bitch.
No, well,
I saw Interstellar.
Sandra Bullock talked about that.
You don't have to, exactly. But you have to slow down on your way back, or actually when you're right behind the moon. That's when you slow.
I don't want to go to the moon until they have like an arcade or a bar. And
I was about to say,
until
when they've got a Starbucks, sign me up.
My standards are
flying
lower.
Around the moon is cool.
I'm not 100% sure if they need air conditioning or heat, but when they have the one I want, then I'm ready.
Yeah, they need fucking both. I think in the sunlight it probably gets pretty fucking hot, and then in the shadows it gets really fucking cold.
Kyle, I would have believed either one.
Yeah, right. I mean, I believe both, and I have no information. But yeah, I'm not doing the Mars thing because I think it's a suicide mission for that first group of people, and I feel like even if it isn't, it's going to be worse than like living aboard a nuclear submarine. Like if you've ever seen one of those shows that shows like how cramped it is, and
the biggest problem is, let's say you go on holiday. Okay, we go to a faraway place like Thailand or something. Worst case scenario, everything goes wrong. You're like, get on a flight back. 12 hours later, you're back home, right? If you go to Mars, it's like a 9-month mission there, or however long it's going to take. You land there. Thank God everything went great. Now you're inside of this submarine. The moment you step outside, you'll die. You're under pressure from radiation and everything. And now you got to wait like a year or so before the planets are aligned again properly, so you can start your 9-month journey back home.
Right.
You're not selling me. Yeah.
And there's no internet there as far as we know, right? Plus,
ruin your career.
As far as we know, you're like,
you have like
one bar.
Let's say you cannot even call anybody because it's an 8-minute to 40-minute
There
lag.
is internet in Mars.
PKA, I won't be able to do it if I'm at Mars. On Mars.
Yeah, when I worked at Cisco, that was like so I didn't work on this project. Don't let me oversell it. But I remember our people telling us about it. Like, yeah, we're working on like getting the internet to Mars and all the like challenges. Like there's something called time to live on a TCP/IP packet. That time to live might be like a few seconds, you know. And if you don't get it in a few seconds, we just drop it and send it again. But because it takes like 20 minutes to get to Mars, it's like a whole different thing, and they had to rework the protocol to some extent. And that's why I know it has shitty internet, but internet.
Yeah, I think I talked about it a few shows ago, but there's on Netflix there's this thing called Mars, and it's this weird quasi documentary / like fictional story where they jump back and forth between like the Apollo program, 2015 when Elon Musk is just trying to get off the ground, literally.
Oh yeah,
and like 2035, like the first Mars mission, which is all fictional, of course, and it's like acted out with actors and stuff. And I thought it was worth watching. It's a quick watch. You could binge watch
it. A documentary or
it's a mixture, right? So like there's as they jump back and forth, they tell you the story of the space program. So like they'll start out and they're in the year 2035, and it's time to land the spaceship. And then they jump back in time to 2015 because the technology to do that is what Elon Musk was beginning to do in 2015.
Yeah. I mean, I'm asking because I had my watch phase and my art phase, and maybe soon I'll have my rocket building phase. You know. I'm joking.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I looked up the temp of the moon, and Kyle's right. It varies between, this is all Celsius, negative 173 and 100, both of which are temperatures that suck for people.
Yeah, those aren't living temperatures. Now, I'm being sarcastic if this is a dumb question. Have we ever explored anything we could build on Mercury? Because I know all the other like, is it too hot in Mercury?
Why'd you skip Venus? I'm just curious.
Because Venus is a gaseous planet.
No. Venus is actually.
Oh no, it's not. Venus is under that horrible carpet of atmosphere that like nothing could survive in.
Yeah, that's where we lived the first time, but we put too much carbon in, and that's what happens.
They're saying Venus. Venus is actually after Mars, like the second best planet to live in. And actually, you would live in like above the clouds. In like hot air balloons or whatever.
Yeah, but that's like making a list of who you'd prefer to rape you. Like none of them are.
And that's true.
It's a great analogy. I love it.
It's never going to be as good as living, you know,
as not being raped. Yeah.
Yeah. Mercury is crazy hot. It's very, very close to the sun. Venus is also
not for us living there. I mean, like, have we like ever looked at like, oh, we can drill into Mercury and get whatever the fuck is in Mercury?
I think there's nothing there.
Nothing? Well, if we were going to do space mining, then they would just catch asteroids. That'd be the cheap way to do that.
I have Mercury's temperature.
Yeah, what is it?
It goes down to negative 279 Fahrenheit and up to 800 Fahrenheit.
Oh. Yeah, no good.
Which is
lead melts there.
That's a bad place.
Lead melts at like 700.
Yeah. Imagine you'd be in like molten lead. If you could swim in molten lead, you might be okay on Mercury.
And I want to say that atmosphere of Venus is like sulfuric acid or something. Clouds.
Yeah. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, it's no good at all. The thing about Mars that they were saying is, and they talk about it in this little show that I watched on Netflix, the radiation there is no good. Because there's no atmosphere really to speak
of. The surface temperature of Venus, because so much heat is trapped in the carbon dioxide atmosphere, is 872 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, and the lowest it gets is 467 degrees.
That's why you would live above the clouds. And about Mars, they're looking at if they're going there, that they might stay in like caves,
lava tubes.
The lava tubes, exactly.
Yeah, that's a big part of that Mars show I was talking about.
Okay.
They have to find the right lava tube to get inside.
Can you explain what a lava tube is?
It's where lava used to pass through, and now it doesn't. And so there's basically a big cylindrical cave, a tube created by the magma flow.
Yeah, and which then stops the radiation. Because Mars doesn't have a magnetic field, or a very weak one.
I heard Elon Musk might not be CEO of Tesla anymore.
Yeah, he may not. It depends on what is the FEC?
SEC.
SEC?
Yeah, SEC.
Whenever I
hear that, I'm like, woo!
Southeastern Conference.
Yeah. UGA. I was like, why do they care what Musk does?
Honestly, they're
fish to fry with the Big Ten.
Powerful.
But yeah, he keeps making those tweets, and they're gonna slap him on the wrist like one more time, I think, and then after that, they're gonna really.
It's so Musk is making up numbers because I am too. 2/3 full of shit, and that's fine when he's promising self-driving cars and delivering self-driving badly cars. Because people are excited just to get whatever they can.
Do they drive badly?
I'm told they drive a little bit like first-time drivers. Where like. Can a 16-year-old drive? Yes. Do they need your supervision? Also, yes. So like someone who's a learning permit, like that's the level that they are right now. So, and that's fine when he's kind of like overpromising on features to happy customers. But when he overpromises on like units per month or earnings per share, well, that becomes SEC violations. You can't just like pump up things that impact your stock price like that. And he keeps getting in trouble.
Yeah, they need to leave him alone. Nobody was looking over Benjamin Franklin's fucking shoulder and being like, a new light bulb by next year. And he's just like, I'm trying to make something happen here. I've been using horsehair and
I mean, he's become a celebrity, right? Like the CEO and the CEOs from the big companies nowadays, like Jeff Bezos, they're not just CEOs anymore. They're like, they have more Twitter followers and Instagram followers than all of us combined. Which is it's interesting.
They're changing the world. Like they're interesting, they're neat, they're doing cool stuff. I like rich people. Like in my universe, everyone has their own view into universe. I see a lot on Reddit, and I see these people like, oh my god, like those paint Jeff Bezos is a really bad person because he's rich, which means that of course it's built on the backs of slave labor and things like that. I don't agree. He's doing something amazing, and I think that makes him interesting. I'd like to see what he does in space.
Is he doing stuff in space? Jeff
Yes.
Bezos?
Yeah,
well,
with Blue Origin.
He will be doing stuff in space. I don't think he's done very much yet.
They actually already have a rocket which was able to take off and land.
Wait, it took off and landed? That's like the SpaceX magic.
But not from orbit. It was just, they went to like lower space and then went back. But I believe
I'm going to count it. I'm going to judges.
There are three different space companies right now. You have Virgin Galactic, Blue Origin, and SpaceX, and they're all trying to go for a different piece of the market. I don't know exactly what, but it's like SpaceX wants to colonize other planets and make space travel cheap. Then you have Virgin Galactic, which wants to get like little tourist trips to space where you fly around the moon and come back, or you go into space and come back. And then I believe Jeff Bezos' company wants to get people to work in space. So have like a space hotel and those type of things. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure he would like to deliver packages to space. He just needs to get some people up there.
That's what it is. Well, it better be covered by Prime.
They space rockets are actually they could be an alternative to airplanes too, because going into space, then flying around for at 20,000 miles per hour or whatever crazy speed, and then landing might actually be faster and cheaper at one point in the future than just flying around in an Airbus or a jet or whatever. So delivering packages could also be faster and cheaper, possibly in the future. Who knows?
I read a story about a guy who plugged the space station with his thumb because there was a hole in it, and I didn't know that was possible either. But I don't know anything about space. So
did you? Here's what I didn't know until that incident. If you guys are unfamiliar, probably Kyle heard of it, but the Russian space station got a hole in it. Actually, what it turned out to be is someone drilled a hole in it. And you saying that's not the case?
I don't believe the fucking Russians.
Well, this was on the International Space Station on the Russian side, right?
Yeah.
I think Taylor's right. And they showed the hole, and it's pretty clear to anyone who's ever drilled in metal what happened here. The hole is a perfect little circle the size of a drill bit. And there's like sort of telltale, if you've ever like scooted a moving drill bit across metal, it leaves a certain pattern scratch mark thing, and that was next to it. And it's just like, oh well, freaking obviously someone drilled a hole in that, perhaps by accident. And the people on the ground noticed that the oxygen was dropping. It was kind of a non-crisis, I suppose, and someone put their thumb on it, and then eventually they repaired it with like epoxy and something else, and there you have it.
Interesting.
What I didn't know, I always imagined that if there was a hole in something in space, you got sucked out of it like crazy.
I did too.
Yeah, every movie ever, they just like they're grabbing like they're holding onto the walls, feet getting pulled towards it, etc. And the guy just plugs it with his thumb until someone finds, bubble gum.
Yeah.
It turns out the pressure inside a space station is like 1 atmosphere.
8 psi or something.
Yeah, 8 psi, something like that. The same pressure that we have around us all the time. It's now underwater, you get some serious pressure, but they only pressurize it to 1 atmosphere. And outside, it's pressurized to 0 atmosphere. It's not because it's exponentially. It's not a lot different than being on top of a mountain or something. Like it's just low pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not that crazy. I learned that from some Neil deGrasse Tyson thing or something I watched a while back. So I knew that already. But in the movie Alien Resurrection, there's a part where she flicks some of her acidic blood onto the window behind the monster, and it gets stuck to that hole, and the hole's like the size of a quarter, and rapidly it is sucked through the hole, like sort of like inside out. So, like at first it breaks the skin, and then it sucks all the innards through it, and they're just spraying into space as the monsters are going like suffering horribly. And I remember thinking like that might be the worst. That's one of the worst ways to go. That this magical hypothetical alien space death seems excruciatingly painful because it took like a minute or something to kill the thing. It took forever.
Oh, I mean, like if the hole's big enough, you're gonna die pretty quick.
It's not actually. That was another thing that's kind of surprising. They made it. I've always thought that if you went into space, like it was just like an instant death ruining thing. It's apparently not that insane to like be in space.
To be out there.
I mean, you can't breathe anything. And
I don't want to do it.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, but I always thought like your eyes instantly popped out and left your sockets and like crazy things happened. I don't think
your blood boils.
I've never seen anybody do it. I've heard like as soon as you're out there in space, like free floating, if you don't blow if you don't have all the air out of your lungs when you get out there, it'll do some science shit and
remember Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Yeah, that scene in Event Horizon is pretty rough. Yeah, where you get depressurized.
That stressed me out.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that made me I don't ever want to go to space.
Nah, space is scary.
Not like that's on my, table.
Hey, it might be Elon Musk is just making all kinds of things happening. I saw he tweeted out the 2020 Roadster, fastest production car in the world. It's like 0 to 60 in 1.4 seconds or something like that. Something insane. Things looks incredible. You okay there? What happened, Woody?
Autoplay shocked the fuck out of me. I still don't know why it autoplayed. So I was looking up what happens to a body in space. And if you're a listener,
did you get electrocuted or surprised?
Surprised.
Okay,
but I know it looked like electrocuted.
Yeah.
It's a long article, but what exactly does happen? Do your eyes explode outward while your blood evaporates? The truth is less dramatic and more fascinating. And it says the first thing you'll notice is the lack of air. You wouldn't lose consciousness right away. It could take 15 seconds as your body used up the remaining oxygen from your bloodstream. If you don't hold your breath, you could survive.
Trying to get air.
Oh, and if you don't hold your breath, you could perhaps survive for as long as 2 minutes without permanent injury.
Cool.
Wow. I can't wait for the first guy to break that record.
Oh, man. Some of the Russian space stuff is really scary when you like start learning about like this, the way they beat us in the space, all those space races where they didn't have the safety issues that we did. Like we were concerned with our astronauts. We were concerned even with our dogs that we were sitting up there or whatever, and they just didn't give a fuck. So like a lot of people apparently just got burnt up, and they never mentioned it. They were just like, they would only let you in. They told you about their successes and none of their failures. NASA is like, hey, tomorrow, get this, guys. Like, come on, get the cameras around. Yeah, everybody. We're going to launch this gigantic rocket with 4 guys in it. Oh, they're burning alive. They're all burning alive. Oh, God. Oh,
God. It's a dangerous job.
They couldn't get out because we made the door funny. Shit. like that's how NASA works. That literally happened, right? With I don't remember which one it was, but the astronauts all burnt alive inside the thing.
Sergey, how did the mission 7 go yesterday? What mission 7?
Yeah. It goes from 6 to 8.
Yeah,
Yeah.
6 to 8. Yeah. Sputnik 31. It's like, oh, okay, made it.
we randomize the numbers. Pay no attention.
Yeah, no. It's like the way they'll do like military groups where they'll be like, all right, this is the 91st Marines. It's like, does that mean there's 90 other ones at least out there? Like,
yeah, SEAL Team 6 is like that. You know, they call it SEAL Team 6 so that like the enemies all thought, holy shit, they got 6 groups of these bad motherfuckers? 6 of those?
At least. We don't know if there's 7.
I don't remember how many there are in reality, like 2 or 3 or something like that. Whatever.
Oh, how lame of them to tell us.
Not 6.
I was talking about this with a friend not long ago, but like it was 66 years, I'm pretty sure, from the Wright brothers flying for the first time to putting a man on the moon. 66 years.
Wow.
That is not a long time. Like that's a life, you know. And since then, since 1969, what do we have? Some like telecom advancements?
No, I think no. Do not downplay. It is incredible that we put a man on the moon allegedly with 64 what is it? 64 kilobits of RAM, or like literally like a Game Boy, right? And don't quote me on that because it's probably off.
Less.
But but basically with some bullshit. And now like you know, my cell phone is so much better, etc. While we haven't done anything that is what I should say is
in the physical realm.
In the physical realm, as incredibly monumental seeming, the telescope that we just put out, the one that James Webb is like the pinnacle of human engineering for the last 20 years. It like the deployment, the way that they've got it out there, the amount of different like points of failure that they've got, the way that it's operating now. Like like 2004.
I saw that it was geosynchronous in the Earth's shadow.
Yeah, in the Earth's shadow to make sure that it doesn't wash out the telescope. Like, images.
When do they get first images from that? Like when are we going to see stuff?
I actually don't. I mean,
is it going to stay near Earth? It's not like
it's it's locked.
Did the Hubble leave? Am I right about that? The Hubble like just goes farther and farther. Maybe I'm thinking of the Voyager or something.
No, the Voyager goes further and further. I think the Hubble just got decommissioned, or they're not gonna need it after this.
So the space telescope is like closer than the moon, but that Voyager thing is like it left the solar system a couple years ago.
That one's just radio signals. We're just like we just chucked that shit, and we were like, hey, call back, send us text messages.
I made a mistake. I conflated them, but James Webb is just going to stay nearby in the Earth's shadow, taking pictures.
Taking photos of the most absurdly high quality. It's like a 3 or 5 mirror system or whatever, where it bounces in, bounces off, bounces in, bounces off, and then what I asked was, does that mean that we're gonna get incredible HD photos of every planet, right? Like I love seeing deep space stuff, but like I also want to see the shit around us in higher detail. And while the answer is like yes, it can, they're not going to focus it on Jupiter. Like that's just not what they're down to do with this thing. They're going to do, you know, that famous photo of like we focus the Hubble in this blank square for 1 week, and here's that. They're going to do more stuff like that and more high quality of things that were just in like tiny dots of light.
They're looking for the origins of the universe. Like
they're trying to see. This will let us see further than we've ever even remotely seen before, to the point where they're like, we might hit it. We might hit the render distance of the universe with. This
they've already hit the render distance of the universe.
Have they? With like consume
with what we have?
Yeah, so I'm just cool. It's just gonna be great, but the fact that
I like
it all
describing
well.
it as the render distance, like a Minecraft sort of like.
Listen, we're all gamers, baby.
No, it's good. It works for me.
That's because it's a lot harder for anyone to explain or understand space expanding and what that actually means.
Yeah, it just keeps going.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
what is it expanding into?
Because as a child, I thought that that just meant everything was flying away from each other in a big void, but what it means is that the void is growing.
Yeah,
the void itself, the void between every object is growing. Space is expanding.
The only thing that I wish that we gain more knowledge on is like the I just want more perspective on the infinitesimally large space like universe stuff. It's so hard to like look at anything that somebody writes or types or says and then be able to conceptualize what they mean. Because every single time it just boils down to like, yeah, that's pretty big. I just can't. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's little steps that are big to engineers. But as like a guy on the ground here, I want to see us punch a fucking alien or like step on Mars or what
I want to see
would
us get on Mars. Yeah.
Yeah, what I would have them do with that space telescope is, like you said, like stuff in our solar system, especially like the places we think there might be life under ice, like on those moons. And what I really want them to do is just find a planet, like find the closest planet outside of our solar system, and show me the best image you could do of that.
How far away is that?
I don't know.
The closest habitable planet or the closest?
No, just a planet, period. Just a rock outside of our solar system. Show it to me.
I want to know
what color it is.
You know what? I'm going to go a step further and say that what I would really enjoy is, because I know we have the tech and the capability to do so, especially now with the relays that we have. I want to live stream from people on the moon, and I also want to watch it in HD right now on the Earth, and I want to see you big ass bright light strobing at the moon. I want to look back. I want to see it.
I want to be able to donate to make the astronaut do things.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I was
exactly. Gamify it.
Yeah. like if that shit's not on Twitch the next time a person's on the moon and he's not like responding to chat, then I don't want to live.
Pussy Slayer 72 donated $5 to NASA. Says
stream ends in disaster once NASA enables
that soon. Nerd.
Text this means 777.
Dang.
Did you see they released that first image of a black hole this week?
Yeah.
Which is really cool, I guess. But then like suddenly everybody was like, oh, a woman did this. It was a woman who wrote all the code for the first image of a black hole, and it blew up on Reddit. Just stick with me here. It blew up on Reddit that this woman had solely done this thing. It was her picture all over there. They made a like how to get karma fast starter pack, and it's her picture and the black hole. And then it comes out, a man did so much more of it that it's not even funny. He did 340 times more lines of code. She did like 2,400 lines of code, and he did like 800,000 lines.
He did 850,000. I saw like a little blurb about it, and there's no reason to get frustrated with this woman. She didn't pick to be foisted by the media like that. She didn't pick that. So people bullying her isn't fair.
I'm very skeptical that he wrote 850,000 lines of code. I think that's a tremendous amount, a lifetime.
It's been
code.
going for like 4 years, and they showed their GitHub.
Right. So what's happened is he's checked in that code, but he could be the code reviewer. Like, I'm just skeptical that he's literally the guy that typed all that code. That's an outrageous amount of code.
It sounds outrageous to me. Like,
he might be the guy that does the code management.
There were like 30. There was like the real leaders, and then some team leaders, some like, I don't know, I guess the necessity team leaders, where it's like, if these things don't line up, nothing works. And then there were like 30 like small team leaders, and she was in one of the unessential ones. The whole point was that like they really kind of ignored everybody else who
they
worked
picked
on
the pretty one to give the credit to.
They picked the female one. She could have been fat and ugly. They just still picked her.
Of course, yeah. They were obviously pushing the female thing, but
I think it helps that she's pretty.
Well,
it might help her karma,
right.
but it's definitely the reason that she's being posted. And then they post.
She also did the TEDx talk on it. Did you watch the TEDx talk where she talked about it?
I did watch that. Yeah.
So she was kind of a front man. I don't know. Yeah, this thing has been going on so long that she was like 9, while they started it. So she couldn't have led. Yeah, 2004. Does that sound right? And she's 28. Am I? 2001.
Oh, I thought it was like this current project was like 2016 to 2019, and I think she joined in like the end of 2017 or the beginning of 2018 or something.
Yeah, I'm not making it up. Right. Yeah, I could be right or wrong. Maybe what I read was wrong. But what I saw is that they started in the early 2000s. Maybe the project's been redefined with different starts. But
you're right. I have no fucking idea.
But yeah, and anyway, look, she's brilliant. She's a doctor of mathy stuff. I think that's what it is. And
mathiest stuff.
Yeah, and I think at MIT too. And now she's working for NASA.
Wonder how much her parents paid.
That'd be so funny. She got it easy. They start buying their way into MIT. I feel like you can't buy your way into MIT the way you could at like Harvard or Yale, because like that's a real thing. Like if you look at nepotistic rates of admittance
I don't know.
into schools,
I saw the
schools
picture
like
of the
Harvard
guy.
and Yale way higher than MIT, because a place like MIT, you show up and you're not smart enough to be an engineer, you get weeded out pretty fucking quick because like
It looked
your
to
dad
me,
can't pay enough for your
I
project
guarantee.
to look okay.
I saw the picture of the guy who did the supposed 800,000 lines, 850,000 lines of code. If that lady had given him a handy, he'd have slipped her 2,400 lines of code, no problem, no questions asked. That's my stance. That's what's occurred here.
My stance is that I really don't care.
I don't really care either. I thought it was fascinating that they have an image of the thing.
Yeah, I just thought the black hole picture was cool because I laughed really hard because they had a couple photoshops of it where one of them was the look at my dick and you get punched picture, and it was the black hole, and the other one was the goatsy where it's the guy's hands pulling his asshole apart, and it was on there. So I won the day. I don't care who gets the credit.
So I doubted the picture for a while, right? This is the picture that can't be captured and stuff like that. And then I listened to the TED Talk and I listened to how they got the picture. And they said, this is what we expected the black hole to be like. We took tons and tons of pictures, discarded all the elements that didn't meet what we expected it to look like until, lo and behold, it looked like we expected it to. And they have
really?
Now, so you heard this and like me, you're like, the freak?
Like, seems backwards engineered.
Yeah, like you just discarded all the stuff that didn't look like you wanted it to, and then sure enough, what was left was what you wanted. But it turns out they had like 4 teams doing this, and they all came up with the same picture, which invalidates maybe what I just said. So I look forward to, like how this evolves. Maybe we do have a picture of the black hole. Maybe they're going to be like, you know what? That was largely horseshit. That wasn't a picture like you think it was.
It was like, do you remember the big story like 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and it's like, we found life on Mars. And they're like, oh my God. And then they're like, we found what might be a frozen bacteria in a lake somewhere, and that's life. And
that is
everyone
life.
Immediately, no, I know it is, but everyone immediately lost their fervor for it because they're idiots like me and are like, you mean nobody's even walking around? We didn't find a guy named Alan just hangs out on Mars?
I particularly like that his name is Alan.
Hello, friends. My name may seem foreign to you. It is Alan. It's like, Alan, really? Well, I just took out the I in Alien.
Yeah, that would do it for me. Like bacteria is all it takes. Because it's not about finding, because that first step, the idea is like a lot of people don't believe that there is any life whatsoever outside of our planet. Now, there's some people who don't believe in evolution. There's some people who don't believe in evolution. So to them, maybe bacteria on another planet is completely meaningless. They're like, yeah, so there's bacteria. Who cares? But to me, that's proof that the starting point for what we are is present out there, and that means it's present out there everywhere.
The 3-body problem, that book tackles this. Like it tackles religions, like acceptance and evolution to all these different worlds, and like the Bible doesn't mention all these other lives. And the globe is the center of the universe, and they just like how they had to evolve to keep like reverse engineering. Like, no, it was right the whole time. Yeah. But it also meant, these other cultures existed in the Bible.
The whole 6,000 years old thing is just ridiculous. Like even most Christians I talk to and know are kind of on the boat of like, yeah, I believe God created everything, but those days are not strictly days. I mean, it does even say in the Bible to the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years and 1,000 years is like a day. His conception of time isn't the same as ours. And so obviously evolution could have been the Lord's mechanism to get us here. And it's like, okay, well, at least you're including science into your thing. It still seems kind of fucking hokey that you had to back up that much. But like the real deal, the Earth is 6,000 years old, people. Like, I don't know how they can cling to that anymore. Like it's just, we know we have records of written language older than that in Mesopotamia and the Fertile Crescent. Like,
there's some reverse engineering going on. Like my father told me that geology is not a real science.
That's true. It's like phrenology.
And I heard it, and I didn't have a counter for it. Like, I don't know. And by the way, he's really smart in a lot of ways. So if you go and try and be like, Dad, you don't understand. Carbon decays at a really steady rate. It's gone to this. And that's why we could look at these things and see how much carbon we expect versus how much carbon there is and know exactly how long ago it took. And he would debunk that shit, and you'd never change his mind, and you'd run out of things to say. You'd lose. Even if you're...
Well, carbon is a government conspiracy. We're all made of helium at different densities. That's why I purge the helium from my body. That's why my voice sounds like this.
Oh.
I don't have anywhere else to go with this.
Why do you look so inflated?
Well, that's the neck thickening salve and the face reddening cream. Man, your throat hurts so quickly after pretending to be that maniac.
Yeah,
Can they let him back on Twitter so I can laugh at his tweets again? My God, please.
Dude, the biggest thing with him is he says things that are true. And that's my challenge. You know, like you'd be like, what? You know, the water paper documents, and you Google it and you're like, oh, fuck, that was a real one. You know, now we're on to, what does he say the condensation trails are?
The contrails.
The chemtrails.
The chemtrails.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh my God, you know, like I'm having a hard time. I have to research every one of these things because if 1 in 3 is true.
He just gish gallops and says so many things, and like that's what he does. Is he'll like mention 5 big events, and you'll look at like in a tirade, and you'll look at if you look at it, you'll be like, oh fuck, all 5 of these big events he's talking about are true, and they happen the way he said. That's interesting. I guess the 50 claims he sprinkled in there must also be true. Like that's how he gets people.
Lizard people, vampires, like. It's crazy.
I used to like look so forward to like a new PBS documentary or Discovery Channel documentary, National Geographic documentary about penguins, bears, fucking black holes, whatever, and just wanted to get high and learn about black holes for 3 fucking hours straight, and then talk to my girlfriend while she's high about black holes. And I was like, what do you think? What happens to time in there? They say it sucks in time. Like, how big is it? Everybody thinks it's this big, but you know what? It's really like infinitesimally small. The part that you're seeing that's empty, that they call a black hole, is just the part where light is being sucked in. That's just where the light is being sucked. That's not the hole. The hole is this tiny little thing. Can you even imagine that? Everybody thinks that, but they're wrong. And just those conversations are fun when you're
the best.
Yeah, conversations sober.
That's true. I mean, I don't remember when Planet Earth 1 came out.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember smoking so much weed and watching Planet Earth and just being absolutely mesmerized by the entire thing. Like, what other fish in the deep do we not know about? Like, what other things in the Mariana Trench could be uncovered?
There are worlds we don't know about in the ocean.
Black holes are way smaller than I thought. You guys got me in a little Google hole here. Dude.
Wait, black holes are small?
Well, we can't even measure it.
Infinitesimally small.
So small. So before I Googled it, I was like, I bet Kyle's right about some black holes. You know, there's some black holes that are many times bigger than the sun. But, you know, and some black holes that are really small. No. A big black hole is about the size of the nucleus of an atom. A tighter black hole can only be measured, it can only be properly described using quantum mechanics. Like smaller than a piece of an atom.
Yes, but smaller than an electron.
But a black hole,
a neutron, smaller than a proton.
Like they're not all subatomic. They're not all equally powerful.
No. It's dependent on how much mass that they contain. And we don't know what's on the other. We don't know what happens inside of the black hole. Like some people believe that it's tearing a hole in space-time and creating, and all the stuff it's sucking in is being flooded into a parallel dimension and creating another dimension. They think that maybe our dimension is just was created by a black hole in like a father dimension, and like we are all of everything that we know about was sucked from another dimension or another universe into this universe.
Is there like math pointing to that or something like that, or is this like just theoretical? Because I would imagine that it would just
theoretical.
Like, I imagine it would be like a snowball where it'd be like anything it sucks in, it just gets slightly bigger because it's like accumulating mass. It's acquiring.
The thing that to consider is the black hole itself has gravity, so it is pulling itself tighter and tighter. And like the heavier it gets, the tighter it gets in some ways.
Yeah,
it's an enormous amount of mass in an incredibly small
no, but then the littlest
volume, and it's like the way they're able to see them is because they can't see the stars. There's this big area. Hey, there's no stars there. That's a black hole, and it's because it's sucking light in. Light can't escape it. So that's what they're actually seeing. These big things that they see are just the areas where light is being sucked away down into the thing.
There's two ways to measure a black hole. One is the size that we just talked about, whether it's the size of a nucleus or described by quantum mechanics. The other thing is solar masses. And I guess the solar mass is about the weight of a sun. And some black holes are 10 to 100 solar masses. The bigger ones are 4.3 million solar masses, which is an incomprehensible amount.
Yeah, I believe
3 million of our suns in something.
It's our sun, I believe, that is used
or smaller than a fist.
I believe the measurement much smaller than a fist.
When you say smaller than a fist, you're like a trillion times too big.
Well, first of all, you're correct. But second of all, it's the size. It's smaller than the electron in an atom.
This is like I can't even. My mind, I can't compute that. I can't imagine that.
Yeah,
something that dense. What would happen if I dropped it on my desk? The world would end.
The world would end very quickly.
I would die an eighth of a second before you guys. What's going on? And then you get sucked.
I believe that they have created even smaller black holes in laboratories. And
we can't be futzing around with that. We're going to destroy the planet.
And the interesting thing about that is there were, just like with the Manhattan Project, where there were some scientists theorizing, you're going to ignite the atmosphere of the planet. A fire wave is just going to sweep and circumnavigate the globe like a giant sphere all the way around. And all of the atmosphere is going to ignite if you set off a nuclear weapon. Like, some of them believed that. And they were like, only one way to find out. So there's also scientists, when they started creating these like micro black holes, I think they're called, or something like that in the laboratory, they were like, what if it just falls through the Earth's crust and starts consuming everything and consumes our planet? And they're like, no. They only last for like an infinitesimally small amount of time. They're just like a little flash in the pan, just a little poof, and they're gone.
You hope,
and they were right.
They were, but like they could have been wrong. If they were wrong, the solar system all collapses into this black hole, and we make a new one.
We don't care about Mars after we're gone, do we?
No, not. I mean, you know what? We shouldn't be able to have these scientific geniuses unilaterally making these decisions on the whole world's behalf. Some kooky guy in Germany is like, it will probably work. It will be cool. It's like, Hans, back the fuck up, you Nazi. Don't do this.
But that stuff's just so much more interesting to me when I'm fucking stoned. I could watch like documentaries.
Right, you can talk about that.
Like what? I don't remember what channel we would watch. Oh, I remember the greatest thing ever high was that thing that Neil deGrasse Tyson did, Cosmos 2. You know because he remade Cosmos with the funding.
I didn't like that one. There was way too much exposition from Neil deGrasse Tyson, not nearly enough sciencey stuff. I didn't like it.
Oh, there was all this bullshit. What was it, like a cartoon about science or something?
I love the animation.
With his bullshit space thing. And everything he says has this tone of like, all right, I'm saying this, but I'm really just hoping you notice how smart I am and how smart I think I am. And I'm here to dumb this down for you morons as I explain it.
He is.
Dude, that guy's a fucking dick. I guarantee he's not the guy discovering things. He's the PR arm of NASA. There's some guy who was cloned from a Nazi in the back doing the science.
His credentials are pretty impressive. I think he's like the head of something in New York, some planetarium thing. But in any case,
they never give that to PR people to bolster, resumes.
He was that before this. But the thing about Cosmos is it's not meant to be like a fucking astrophysics lecture. It's meant to introduce high concepts
to the masses, which is what Carl Sagan was also trying to do. It's like deep, boring shit unless you break it down a little and make it add a little flash to it. And I love the animation, and that's because I was high. You need to get high for this shit. If they put fucking weed in the school system, we'd have a lot more astrophysicists and engineers. I guarantee it. They'd be sitting there like, you mean we could build that?
That is true. I've never watched that high.
His resume is pretty good.
4 more years here? Well, you keep the weed coming, and I'll keep showing up.
He got his undergrad at Harvard, his master's at University of Texas, and his PhD at Columbia.
It's propaganda.
It's pretty good shit.
Also,
don't undercut.
Have you ever seen the pictures of him ripped as fuck? Have you seen the man's physique when he was younger?
You know that's right. He only got into that school as an athlete. Let's find some way to delegitimize him.
My favorite thing about
he's a champion powerlifter in Texas.
I did like
wrestler,
that.
Right?
I like that he was jacked at one point. That makes me like him.
Dance too.
I don't care if he can dance.
He can like really
dancing's very important. Hey, back up, slow your roll there, Taylor.
This is like Woody.
Champion dancers are highly valued members of society.
Like that Russian dog. Have you seen that like Russian cosmonaut dog thing? It's one of the most fucked up videos ever. I bet it's on YouTube. The Russians wanted to see if they could keep a dog head alive, just the head. And so it's like just a dog head laying sideways on the table, and it's got a bunch of tubes and things, and it's like a dog like panting and like breathing in a terrified way because it's just a head now. And it was like, how does this get you to space? Maybe I'm making up that it had anything to do with space, but
let's see if we can keep just a dog head alive.
Yet they're planning for Futurama.
Yeah, no wonder we're losing this fucking space race. We're in here fucking with dog heads, seeing how long to keep them alive. They stole all the genius Germans. Oh, we don't want the genius Germans. Let the Americans have them.
Dude, I don't understand why America says it won the space race. What? I feel like we just lost, set up our own goal line, and then said we won.
That's exactly.
Well, come on, it's a pretty good goal line, right?
Yeah. Hold on, this is written by the victors.
Here's a little thought experiment for you. Do you really think that Russia and Russians think they lost the space race? They got to orbit before we did. They got a giant Yuri Gagarin statue there, better than any of our NASA statues, frankly. Like, you go ask a Russian, yeah, of course we won. We got there first. You guys lost. No, we got to the moon first. That was the original.
They went and because of the way we built the space shuttle, they were able to go to each of the subcontractors and purchase the parts for our space shuttle like it was a goddamn Lego set that cost $100 million, and then just build it themselves. And so they built their own space shuttle right before the fall of the Soviet Union. And they also had plans to go to Mars. Now, that would have been moving the fucking flagpole. If they go to Mars, then they win the space race.
Yeah, but they still, I didn't know the list was this comprehensive. Thank you, Woody. First satellite in space, Soviet Union. First animal in space, Soviet Union. First man in space, Soviet Union. First woman in space, Soviet Union. First spacewalk, Soviet Union. First space station, Soviet Union. First man on the moon, USA. Winner of the space race, USA.
And who won the entirety of the Cold War? I think that's very telling. Who writes my history textbooks? It's not Sputnik 5, It's
let's go to Taylor's point on
American Johnson & Johnson, right?
Do the Russians think they lost the Cold War, or did it just never really end and it's still happening and they're currently
I think the Russians
propagating elections or something.
They think they lost because of the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It was such an apparent
maybe they see themselves as part of communism, which is winning.
No.
Maybe. Is communism popular over there? No.
I have a couple Russian friends, so I've who live not just in Moscow, but one of them lives in wherever north of fucking Mongolia is or was from there. They're very much in the same almost like the same mentality as the people who were very apathetic about the last election cycle. They're like, our country just kind of sucks, and that's just the way it is, and they don't think that's not communism or anything. They moved over to the U.S. for a reason. It's more opportunities over here. They're all musicians, so take it with a grain of salt. They're not exactly like poli-sci majors that are like, well, here's all the complex. They're just like, it's not really great over there. I don't know what to tell you. So I came over here, and it's also not great, but it's just
nicer sunnier.
Yeah,
It makes sense
exactly.
Yeah, like if you talk to people that left, like people and their families who left Russia, like that place sucks, dude. Oh, it's the worst because everybody who likes it, you know, or I guess a lot of people who hate it, they can't afford to leave.
Yeah,
and everybody who thinks Russia's great lives in Russia.
Yeah, that's the difference between I think Russia and the U.S. The people that are impoverished and live there hate it, versus in the U.S. they love it. They're so excited to love America, is what I mean. Not being poor, they love America. Right, like that, like the nationalism is what I was getting at. I don't think I don't think people in abject poverty in the U.S. are like, "Fuck yeah!" Like this is incredible.
Does everyone here think that we went to the moon?
Yes,
seems likely.
But you should see the guys who think we have not been to the moon. They're so convinced that we've not been to the moon. Like I had this debate on Facebook the other day, and I could not give any scenario or article or factual information that this guy would believe. You know what I mean? And it's like, there's a lot of people like that though, right? And it's like, I don't know, there's a lot of crazy out there and a lot of
the Russians would have called us out. And like just the other day, the Chinese sent a craft up to the moon. I don't know if it landed or not, but it orbited. And they took fucking pictures of the goddamn landing site. The Chinese took pictures of our landing site. And we're like, oh, look, America's landing site.
But
so
did they wreck it?
No, they just flew over and took some goddamn.
They just flew over it. They didn't land or anything.
They wouldn't wreck it. That'd be a problem. They know better than to go fucking with our flag on the goddamn moon.
I was thinking how hilarious that would be.
We don't care.
If they just fucked it up. They just
what would happen if China kicked our flag down on the moon?
I wouldn't.
Nothing. I hope, but it depends on the president. What would happen if they put their flag next to ours and it just became like a
little higher,
over it,
like graffiti, like Woody was here. You know, everyone.
No, they put it on top of it. You know how like
now you're doing a thing. I'm just like, what would happen if they were like, we were here too, and that became.
They're gonna do a thing. What do you think? They're gonna get the exact same size flag as ours and put them right next to each other, so there's no forced perspective. No, they're gonna put a big honking Chinese flag over ours. That's what they do. I'll tell you what we do. We go up there and we plant a bigger one. That's what we do. That's what we do. We go up there, we plant one of those big honking. If you've ever been to Florida and seen one of those rebel flags, one of those. All right. One of those that's meant to be a slap in the face to anybody darker than tan. like one of those big boys.
That would be hilarious for an eccentric racist billionaire to put a
billionaire. Flag on the moon. Does it. I genuinely believe that we would.
Well, I meant the South will rise again.
No, I think we genuinely would if the Chinese went up there and planted a bigger flag next to ours. We're supposedly going to the moon. I know they say it all the time, but there's like a planned moon mission fairly soon. They're working on the rocket right now, right? That's that new bigger rocket.
3 years.
If no one's walking around on the moon, don't care.
I think it's a plan.
Do not care if it's another rover. Send a guy out if you want me to pay any attention at all.
Well, considering our technology is like 100 times better than when they first did it, it shouldn't be that much harder.
It should be way easier.
That's
it should be a weekend trip.
It should be, that's what I'm saying. It should be a lot easier to get it done. Like, look at the depths we've gone to in the ocean. Like all the technologies those guys have done. Like, I don't know.
It's frankly, it's pretty embarrassing to have gone to the moon and not done it again. Like not done it again in how many years?
Because NASA lost all
since like the early 70s.
Well, the public lost interest, and there wasn't a reason to go. The Russians quit, right? So there wasn't really a reason to go back because it's not like in that TV show that we enjoy so much. And that TV show we like so much that they find a rare and valuable resource on the moon. So that really fuels this. Oh, we got to get a base up there and a mining operation, and then we got to find a way to truck the shit back to Earth. But we didn't find anything but dirt, you know.
Yeah.
And it's real expensive to go.
Very.
The moon must just be made of worthless shit.
It's a rock.
For no one to care to go up there, they must be like, yeah, this is just a rock all the way through. Who fucking cares? It's shit. We're not mining
like
this.
Nazis at the center of it. Did you see that weird movie?
Those space Nazis. That's a good movie.
Nazis are at the center of the moon.
They're on the dark side of the moon. They're on the bad
side of the moon. Yeah.
I mean, if they successfully pulled off an escape like that, you gotta hand it to them. Like there's
hilarious.
Anyone who took control of the dark side of the moon, you're like, all right, fuck. I guess we didn't get all the best scientists for NASA.
It's called like Iron Moon or something like
that.
There's a couple of them. They get more ridiculous. By the second or third one, I know they're riding a Tyrannosaurus with machine guns. Like that happened.
Did they already have that?
There's a Robo Hitler too. I think maybe it's a wacky kind of fun movie.
Yeah,
Robo Hitler.
Robo Hitler, or maybe like a Mega Hitler. I don't remember which.
A Mecha Hitler. Yeah,
a Hitler mech. Yeah, that'd be cool.
If they're getting the budget to make it, why not? It's what it is.
Yeah. I would like us to go back to the moon. I've been saying forever. Like we watched this show called help me, Woody, For All Mankind, and the idea is that the Russians beat us to the moon, and we were like, fuck that shit, and we kept going, and now it's about first woman on the moon and first fucking like base on the moon, and we're going to Mars in the 90s, and like the whole history of the US, the world, Soviets, it's all different. And as I watch it, I get sad because their world's better than ours. Their world's not just a little bit better than ours. It's 10 years ahead technologically. And as far as like race relations, like gays in the military, all that's advanced too. Like we're socially more advanced, and we're technologically more advanced. And it's a world that I would have liked to have lived in, but never got to happen. They're going to Mars in like the mid-90s. It's
because the country has to come together to make it happen.
It looked like technology pushed it a little farther. Like I want to say maybe it's the 80s and telecommunications is really good. They're doing like FaceTime on CRT screens. There's just a bunch of tech that's better than we have.
The biggest thing is the discovery of that resource on the moon to make clean, free energy with fusion. They have fusion.
I haven't got there yet. Yeah.
Can we not do fusion? No, we can do fission, right?
Yes.
We can't do fusion.
Well, we can do fusion for a little while.
Yeah, but we can't do
real
it
big bombs
in like a sustainable way.
Right. A fusion reactor is something they've been working on.
Wait, aren't
for a
those
long
even
time.
fizzle bombs? Like not fusion bomb, or they're a fusion bomb? The fizzle bomb, yeah.
So the bombs that they dropped in World War II, those first two, the plutonium and the uranium, those were fission bombs. But I believe that the modern bombs, the thermonuclear weapons, the hydrogen bombs, are fusion bombs.
Nasty
Man,
stuff.
we should have stopped after like cannons.
That is such bullshit that America won the space race.
Goalpost moving.
Yeah, we've shown it before here. Let's see.
They did a bunch of things, but we did the biggest thing.
But that wasn't the race. It was to get to outer space, and then we're like, that's actually not the.
Well, I'll say this: they quit right after that.
Yeah,
and their whole country crumbled.
That's
because
true.
It's pointless. Why would you want to go to the moon? It's fucking pointless. There's nothing there.
We haven't gone back. It's like it's achieving the technology and the economy to make it happen instead of using your tech and economy to blow each other up. Like that was the idea. They did all the things. They were the first ones to put an object on another planet. They went to Venus. The first satellite, the first dog in space, like the first life form in space, like all that shit.
Wait, they got to Venus first?
Yeah.
Then we definitely lose. That's further away than the moon.
They didn't send a person though.
Well, I know.
This
person.
Space race, first artificial satellite, first animal in space, first photographs of the far side of the moon. These are all Russian accomplishments. First person in space, first woman in space, first spacewalk, all Russia. First spacecraft landing on the moon, Russia. First person on the moon, America. First spacecraft landing on another planet, Venus, that's Russia. First space station, that's Russia. First spacecraft landing on Mars, that's Russia. Winner of the space race, America.
Dude, we got blown out. Like,
dude,
take this down. This is propaganda. We won. This is communism.
We're all a bunch of commies.
Only one of these countries still exists anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, they still beat us. The space station thing is a huge L. Like that's such a big thing to do. Building
we don't even
space
have one
station
now, and they do. Is that right?
There's an international space station.
The Americans just come around.
I'm pretty sure they let
every time they.
Hold on, what was that, Slash?
Don't the Americans just cop a ride with the Russian rockets every time they go up?
No, we use Elon Musk's now.
And we got there, what, because of Operation Paperclip, where we're like, all these Nazi scientists are Americans now and they belong to us. We stole them.
Give them land on Nantucket Island.
Yeah.
How do we feel about Bezos going to space? I'm a little mixed.
I'm glad he went. First of all, he barely went. Like
they made it sound when I heard he was going to space. Like I was watching Landmark stream when it happened. He's like, they're like, oh, he's going to space right now. Oh wait, he's back. Well, how long was he up there? And they're like 37 seconds. They're like, well, that's nonsense. That's
how high did he go?
That's stupid.
He went high enough that it was like technically space.
That Red Bull,
it's suborbital, isn't it? Yeah.
If you
that
look
Red Bull
up Jeff
base
Bezos'
company.
altitude, it says he's 5'7".
Oh,
I wonder it was easy to get him into space. He's a fucking midget. I reckon I can kick the cunt into space.
They put him in the overhead bin.
So he went to 250,000 feet, which is how many miles is that? 100 miles roughly. That's a lot. I've been to 2 on a paramotor. So about the same.
Yeah, that's true. You know, he wasn't steering it, so you're more qualified.
I like where this is headed.
Yeah,
this is good.
If I'm Bezos, I'm like, no, put me behind the controls. Like, sir, I am ex-Air Force. I've been training in the module for the last 3 years for you. Slide down. All right, what do I do? I'm getting behind the controls. I'm getting behind the controls. I want that picture of me piloting us into space.
Does it have a wheel? Do you think?
It's probably got a
power steering went out.
What if they did that thing that they do for like little kids? They give them like the fake little steering wheel, like on their and he's over there like. He's like putting it in gear.
It's bright yellow and green. It says Fisher Price.
Yeah, he's honking the horn and it's making like cow noises. Like,
Zach, I can't follow all these one-word things. Are you saying Red Bull went higher, or
yeah?
Red Bull.
Do you remember Woody? The highest jump. The guy, Red Bull did the highest ever like free fall to a parachute, and the guy was in space when he jumped. Like you could see the curvature of the earth, and so he's saying that guy, the Red Bull jumping guy,
he said the opposite. Space. He clarified he was wrong. Okay.
Oh,
it was confusing.
Well, how high did the what's his fucking name? The Virgin bloke. How high did he go?
Richard Branson. I don't know.
Yeah. Did he go to 250,001 feet?
Oh, I seriously doubt it, because his thing is like a space plane. Like it looks funky. Elon Musk is the winner of this thing by like a long
280,000 feet for Branson.
Yeah,
of course Elon Musk's wins this head to head for sure.
He hasn't.
Musk hasn't been. He hasn't been into space.
Musk hasn't left Earth at all.
But that's by choice.
Yeah,
he could
go if he wanted to.
If he was brave enough.
Is he 5'7"?
Bezos and Branson have
dumb enough.
Cojones. Well, they're both alive, so it's brave.
I'd love to hear his answer on that. Like, why haven't you gone to space, Elon? Like, I bet he has a great answer. I
haven't really, because he's such an accomplished speaker and he makes his point so eloquently.
Yeah, it'll be like, I came from space, I don't need to go back.
You're right.
Yeah, I saw some meme about Zuckerberg like laughing when he hears that the other billionaires are going to space when he came from space. And he's
yeah.
That guy's
is it okay that I'm torn on this. On one hand, Bezos has, for all intents and purposes, limitless money, and he's not doing a lot of good with it. I know just recently, I think he gave her $100 or $200 million away, which and it is a lot, but it's also like nothing for him.
I mean, that's like me giving $10.
Exactly.
Like nothing.
Yeah. I bet that ratio is not too insane. Like it's like giving away $10. And so on one hand, he's endless money, and he seems to be spending it on, yachts and houses and planes, private jets, I should say, and spacecraft and shit like that. And it's like, bro, like you could do some societal good. On the other hand, like his customers are happy. It wasn't like everyone acts like he got there by stealing. No, he got there because I buy fucking everything on Amazon. I buy so much from Amazon, I have a box disposal problem because I'm a satisfied customer. There are hundreds of millions of satisfied customers like me who keep giving their money to Amazon because the experience is better than you get anywhere else. The return policy is outstanding. Their shipping is fast. It's like
it's all true.
The return policy is like nothing I've ever experienced in life before. It's like you could just tell them that you didn't get a thing, or that, and they'll believe you. Like,
yeah.
If you're a big spender there, like you are, I'm sure
that's probably has something to do with it. But like I've told the story before, but like that $400 or $500 watch the other day that like this thing that like showed up and they were it was the box was empty and I was just like, hey, I was excited to get my new watch today and it wasn't in the box and they're just like, you want a new one or just credit? And I'm just like, I want a new one. I really want one. All right, I'll be there tomorrow. I'm like, fuck, and it was.
Now I have extra charging cables. I'm a winner.
I do have extra charging cables. It was wonderful.
I'm in Hope's class. It's like 3rd grade or something. And I would like volunteer to help out every now and then. And they're doing this thing with the solar system where one kid stands in the center and then all the other kids orbit the sun.
Yeah.
And she was like just strict on this idea that all the planets had to be in a straight line. So the outermost person was, faster than the innermost person. And she's really stressing how every planet needs to be a straight line. I'm like, that's not how it works.
This is just Jim. They just put the fat kid on the outside. Come on, Pluto, keep up.
Excuse me, Mrs. Dumb Bitch. Do you believe that all the planets swing in perfect single file line in outer space?
Well, 3 months ago, I was getting deep dicked while drunk off my ass on jungle juice at a frat party, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. So, and that was like, I don't know. It just seems like it's something that a teacher should have, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think that.
And that's such an easy one. Who thinks that the planets
a lot of people
align that way?
I
thought you were going to be like she was organizing like a geocentric model of where she's like one of those.
Yeah, like she's exactly
all those,
right.
and it's like, and Roger, because it's a geocentric model, you actually have to run in weird zigzags to make it make sense. In Saturn, you run way 100 yards away and come back.
Yeah. They all go in the same direction. And they are not in sync. Although they do believe that the last planet that they only have theorized exists because of the gravitational effect that it's having on other planets. They think that it's going in the other direction.
Wait, what last planet? What are you talking about?
They think there's another planet out far beyond Pluto and the Kuiper Belt.
And
why do they say that?
Because of the gravitational effect that it's having on the other planets.
Couldn't we see that one? Like we see stars and stuff that's so far away. I feel like we would catch another planet.
Well, stars are gigantic burning balls of gas, and planets are cold.
We found Pluto.
Pluto's a lot closer, and we only found Pluto like 100 years ago.
We really could be missing a whole planet. How embarrassing would that be?
I think it's big too.
Really?
Yeah.
Neil deGrasse Tyson rolling in his grave.
You know what? I don't understand. I don't understand why big planets are gas.
Orbiting in his grave.
Oh, just a lot of it.
Why doesn't it get pulled in more? Like, why doesn't how a black hole it's small because it's heavy, so then it pulls in, it gets denser. It's dense because it's dense almost. Why are gases floating out so wide in Jupiter?
What do you mean?
You
mean why is Jupiter so far away? Why hasn't it come closer?
No. Why is Jupiter so large in diameter? It's heavy. It should be pulling those gases in tighter.
I think it's pulling them in as tight as they can go. I think they're pulling as tight as they can. I think they're very dense at the like as you get closer to the planet, and less dense as you go out because of the gravitation.
I think it's not trying hard enough.
Like you couldn't stand on Jupiter. You wouldn't want to stand on Jupiter.
Well, I mean, there is a solid core in there.
Yeah, but you would die way before you. How far would you sink into Jupiter? Do you think?
They know
all the way. All the way. I don't know.
80,000 kilometers or something. like a long
How far do you sink into the sun? All the way. It's like standing on like a ocean made of methane or something. Or maybe that's Uranus. Maybe that's the one made of methane.
Or perhaps Neptune. I don't know. I always forget. But no, I found that interesting. They were talking about they were theorizing about another planet.
Have they named it?
It's lame. They always call it Planet X because the person who finds it, who discovers it, names it, right? And nobody's found it yet.
Theoretical Planet 9. It's a hypothetical planet in the outer region of the solar system. Not reading all that. They have a picture of a fake planet.
There's a lot of fucking information to take in.
Come on, Taylor. I want to hear more. I imagine the listeners are with me.
I'm trying to find better details on it right now.
I watched a YouTube video. I watched those infographic show videos, and I watch a ton of space shit.
By Wendell, he does a lot of aircraft stuff.
Wendell, I don't.
Am I wrong on his name?
I don't. I'm saying it so I can type it.
I probably have it wrong. Now I'm thinking it's something else.
Wendell B. He's a rapper. Yeah. I know this guy. He's probably thinking about his hit single. What is this song? Just don't understand you. I'm actually not bad.
I don't know where I got that name from, but I'm hunting for it.
This is actually R&B. It's kind of nice.
Whose YouTube space channels are you watching?
Let me go to like my like homepage or whatever.
That's I never watch space shit. I should. It's interesting.
I love that stuff.
If I'm gonna watch like nature, I usually go with like the deep of the ocean documentaries or like jungle, like Planet Earth style stuff.
Lately, it's recommended. So I listen to these videos that are like thunder and lightning storms with a black screen. I put them on my TV in my bedroom, and I go to sleep with that as like a sound machine.
Mm-hmm.
But the stupid algorithm thinks that I'm just obsessed with those videos now, and I want lots of them. Like I just need the one. I just need the one. And now my whole homepage is like rain and thunder dark screen. It's a live stream. They're live, like what? Black screen thunder and ASMR rain. I've got like half a dozen of these on every page. But I'm looking for my my space shit that I watch. Here's some stuff about
shit.
Yeah. I watched History History Uncovered. That's got a lot of medieval combat and like stuff like that. I watched In Deep Geek. That's got tons of Lord of the Rings nonsense where they're like, how powerful was the Witch King of Angmar?
Yeah, there's a channel like that, Nerd of the Rings.
I watch Natural World Facts. They've got like tons of like, I don't know, underwater creatures and all sorts of like Discovery Channel, what Discovery Channel used to be type shit. I'm still scrolling. I can't find my space shit. I haven't watched any in a little bit. But you stop watching something for a week and you're like, oh, he's done with that now. Now he wants to see people getting hit in the head with baseballs. I've got 30 videos of people getting like beamed with baseballs now when I just watched one.
Yeah, that's all it takes. I watch like one big hockey hit and then that's all that's suggested. I watch animal fights. I'm glad they get suggested because some of those are good. But YouTube removes a lot of them now. There used to be a glut of good quality animal fight videos, both against people and fellow animals. And now harder and harder to find. You have to go to like Live Leak. Disappointing. I don't like this kind of online censorship. This is America. I should be able to watch any sort of this stuff that I want for free. You know what we should do?
So there's a really good channel. They've got tons of like interesting little animated videos. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's Kurzgesagt.
Yeah, I think that's the one I was thinking of. That there's somehow also Wendell. Like they have, I'm sure, whatever. That's the one.
Oh, you think there's some big YouTuber controlling this channel or something?
No, I think when you open it, they describe themselves as Wendell or something close to that. What is it? Kyrgyzstan?
Yeah, it's this. That's the one. I probably should just link the channel.
I don't know.
They animate these videos and they're really educational and it's tons of topics. Like I'm looking at like their last few uploads. The Ultimate Guide to Black Holes, Nuclear Energy versus the Climate, The Gold Apocalypse, Nuclear Death, The Final Border, True Limits of Humanity, What Are You Doing with Your Life, The Tail End, Optimistic Nihilism, The Great Filter, Wormholes, Loneliness, Vaccines, Bacteriophage, like all things that I'm really interested in.
The Great Filter is super interesting to me.
Totally, yeah.
What is that about?
Kyle, do you want to take this on?
The Great Filter is all of the things that that get in the way of an intelligent species getting to the point where they could contact us. Essentially, like there's the Fermi paradox. Is that what it is?
Sounds right.
There's the question of why haven't we contacted intelligent life, or why hasn't it contacted us? And the idea is that the Great Filter stops life from reaching the point of technological advancement at which they would be able to do such a thing. And there's lots of things that get in the way. And I mean, there's plenty of things between us and that right now, right?
We might kill ourselves.
We might kill ourselves.
Yeah.
Asteroid could hit us. Sun
most
flares.
advanced ever, right? You know, like
Could be.
could be that we're somehow first. We're the first person ever to get this far. It could
Someone has to be.
someone. It's odds seem against it. It's a great big universe, but we could be first. It could be that we're not interesting. It could be, I don't know. But there's a bunch of things they list that could be the great filter. Kyle mentioned solar flares. That's a good one. Just something that prevents a society from living for the what even is it, 40,000 years that it takes to get
there's no way of knowing how long it would take, right? Because
what if the species is way smarter than us,
or do they just advance more quickly? There's no way of knowing how quickly it would take something to evolve.
How long have we advanced, like
from bacteria or from monkey people?
Neither. How long have we been basically biologically what we are now?
About 250,000.
Quarter million years, yeah.
Quarter million years. So if someone born a quarter million years ago, adopted to today, would live basically a normal life?
I don't know. If they were like,
they wouldn't do well on Tinder, but you could get them a job at the grocery store, no problem.
They could. Yeah, I don't know what their capabilities would be.
Yeah,
because that's so long ago. Like how long
if
ago
you had
were
an
Neanderthals?
infant, I think it's the real question. Like if you take the infant from a quarter million years ago and you put him in a fucking preschool, does he? And I think the answer
does he look the same? Does he advance?
I don't think he looks the same.
Does he speak
exactly? But I think he would have the same intelligence. Is the idea.
So let's do this. Like, how long have we really been moving forward? Like okay, let's agree that like the wheel and tools, like that came a long time ago, but that wasn't a period of rapid advancement. Rapid advancement came with like maybe metalworking. And what's that, 4,000 years ago?
We stutter stepped, right? We were talking about medieval times earlier. We had the Romans
plateaued over and over.
Yeah, well, the Black Plague killed how many? It was like
a third of Europe.
Percentage. It was like a third of Europeans were killed by the Black Plague, and that coincided with the Middle Ages and the Dark Ages. It was just, it's hard to say how long it would take any. If that hadn't happened, maybe we're 3,000 years ahead of where we are right now, right? Maybe.
Was that farther back than I think it was?
The bubonic plague was in the 1300s.
Yeah, I mean, a huge amount of our population got killed off, and like culture sort of came to a standpoint in Europe, or a stop still in Europe for a long time. I don't know.
I don't know either. But
in any case, that YouTube channel makes some really good fucking videos about like a wide array of topics, not just like space shit. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I want to watch some more space stuff.
I like the videos on like all the ways that we could go extinct, and the ones on like faster than light travel, black holes, pulsars, like all the asteroid mining shit is really cool. All of that stuff is really fascinating. I wish we'd do a thing like I hate to agree with Woody on this, but like I just feel like our space programs never do a thing. Like a real thing. Like I grew up watching Star Trek, god damn it. I'm 35 years old and we haven't done a thing yet. We've been talking about Mars since I was in high school. Do a thing. Put a human being on another planet. Put a human being on an asteroid. That'd be cool enough, right?
Oh no, Kyle. Rockets are more economical now.
Couldn't we go to
have I not tickled your fantasy?
Look,
rockets are more economical.
No, look, I appreciate everything Elon Musk has done, and it's been a rapid advancement. My problem is not with him and what he's doing. It's with NASA and their slow ass pace. And it's not even their fault. It's the administrations who have cut their funding over the last 30 decades, 3 decades. One space shuttle blew up and a school teacher died. Better cut the funding back. Like, get out. That was supposed to be Big Bird. That was supposed to be Big Bird on that flight, not a school teacher. And the reason it wasn't Big Bird is because he wouldn't fit. They were like, Big Bird's 7 feet tall, right? And they were like, shit, well, let's get a school teacher. The kids will love that. And that shit blew up.
Man, it would have been difficult to explain to a whole generation of kids why Big Bird was on that week on Sesame Street. And they'd have to like for kids' sakes, like do the news like there was one survivor.
They show Big Bird floating down, fucking flying out of the wreckage.
Photoshop.
He comes down. He's all singed. He's in front of the cameras. He's just like, wow. It was horrible. Whatever Big Bird sounds
That's a good
like.
Big Bird.
Big Bird sounds. I have no memory of what Big Bird sounds like.
Back on the like, I don't mean to hate on Elon Musk. You know, without pointing fingers, whether it be Elon or Jeff Bezos or NASA or whatever, just not doing cool shit with the space program in a while. I also recognize more economical rockets are a stepping stone to cool shit. Like I get that too. If you want to go to space, you know, maybe you're like, you know what, it's worth 25 grand to me to take a trip to space. Economical rockets are important in making that happen. I get it. But, or maybe space planes, whatever it is they use. But still, in terms of what we've delivered, wake me up when something cool happens. Did you put a car in space? Fuck you.
Look, you don't have to fly to another solar system. All right. I'm not expecting that in my lifetime. I know I'll never see that. But fuck, could we just step foot on something again? I'd love to see that. That happened long before I was born. Were you born in the 60s, Woody? When were you?
No.
How old are you? God.
There's no
Yes, my dad saw like the Neil Armstrong thing. He saw that happen. I don't think my mom did. My dad was born in 53, so my mom was born in 63, so she'd only been like 6 or 7 or some shit. So no.
In my childhood, the space shuttle started happening.
Yeah.
And they looked like planes. They were space planes. You know, they launched like rockets, but they landed like planes, and that was pretty cool. And they were built with the same idea Elon had, that they were reusable and less expensive, but it didn't work out very well.
I think they were too expensive to run.
Yeah.
And then we lost 2. I think we only lost the 2. One on takeoff, the Challenger, I think, and then one on a reentry when the tiles had been knocked off or whatever. They all burned alive.
We lost one right after 9/11, right?
I think that's the one I'm referring to, where the tile had been knocked off, and so
that must have got overshadowed. I don't even remember that one.
It did get overshadowed by 9/11. Like it happened like the next year or something like that. It was so close that people were like, "Was it Al Qaeda? Did they take down the space shuttle?" And it's like, I don't think so. I think we've seen the height of their technological doings when they came at us with box cutters. Yeah, but the box cutter and the AK-47 is the height of their technocracy. I don't think we have to worry about their space warfare capabilities. But yeah, I want to see us do a thing. And I watch these fucking space YouTube channels are just getting me hyped up about some shit that's impossible. But they make it seem like it's practical. They say it's practical to like do this like not a space elevator, but this like loop-de-loop thing where it's like
where
space escalator.
Yeah, I'm going to explain
later.
So they explain this thing where you've got like one thing orbiting the planet, and then you've got a long like cable connecting it to another thing.
Okay.
And as it orbits the planet, it's swinging. And the swing thing would dip down into the top of our atmosphere, and it could pick up vessels. Like you'd only have to get to the top of the atmosphere for it to pick you up, and the centrifugal motion would like sling you all the way to the moon. And then you could have another one at the moon that could sling you all the way to Mars.
How do you grab onto it if it's always moving?
Well, you do the math right, and you remember in Interstellar when he's like, it's not possible, and he's like, and Matthew McConaughey's like, it's necessary, and he just fucking does it. You need a Matthew McConaughey up there doing the math.
Okay. I'm sorry. Continue.
Jesus. You literally do the math, so you got there at the perfect time. Like that's the sort of thing NASA's good at. It seems like
math. Yeah. Well, then they need to buckle down and get to it, because they've lost the plot. Nobody's excited about space exploration anymore.
Do you care about that rover they've got on Mars right now?
I don't give a fuck.
Are you aware they've got a drone they're flying around Mars right now?
I don't care. I want to see somebody bounce
around.
Yeah,
I don't care. I want to see a dude up there.
Yeah,
or a girl. I don't care.
And like we said, if they're gonna blow the "we found life" horn, it better have legs. Like it better be a form of life that has legs.
What about fins?
Anything but bacteria.
Anything but bacteria, and I'm pretty no. But for real though, if we found some bacteria, that would be a really big.
I think they found like frozen dead bacteria. Right?
No, that'd have been a big deal if that had happened.
Oh, I thought that was many years ago they did that.
No, it would have been like epically world-changing information if we found like actual life that had evolved outside of this planet, because we have no proof that that's even possible. And it would be nice to, if bacteria can happen, then anything can happen.
That's so funny. I had it in my head this whole time that we did like find bacteria or something on Mars.
No.
Well, then this is even less exciting than I thought.
I think I watched a YouTube video recently about why it makes more sense to send women to Mars. Something about it's more economical. Something about
being lighter
and a bunch of other stuff. I think they also work better in groups, and also I think maybe there was.
Why do they get their ass kicked on every episode of The Apprentice then?
Because Donald Trump is picking hotties to compete against the men instead of some chicks with degrees. Yeah, against businessmen. He's like, all right, we have Rebecca, Sports Illustrated swimsuit model, and Tammy from down at Hooters. Hey there. Nice to see you again. In here. And Becky from the Pink Rhino. All right, you're going against Bill. He's from Schwab, and Yale, Princeton, and Harvard. A trifecta of savvy. Oh, we love it, Bill. Yeah, that might be why, or it's probably just the case that men are better at everything. That's measurable anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Remember when Buzz Aldrin punched that guy out?
Yeah, that was awesome. That was sick. I watched a documentary with that guy recently. That guy's so aggravating. Oh, did you land on the moon? Oh, I know you didn't land on the moon. I can prove it.
You're a coward. You're a liar and a coward. And Buzz Aldrin popped him one.
Deserved, in my opinion.
So good.
That dude's crazy. I saw a documentary with him. He has dedicated his entire life to following around the astronauts that he says claimed they went to the moon. That dude is crazy, bro.
Wow.
Really?
That was that was multiple times that he had come sideways at that astronaut like that. It was Buzz Aldrin?
So I thought Buzz Aldrin popped him the first time he ever met him, but I guess not.
Now
he's taking all he could take.
Now it could be because he knew who he was. I very well could be misinterpreting it. I was under the impression they had come across each other, but he didn't know who he was. That doesn't necessarily mean that he harassed him like that. You're right.
Yeah, what a maniac.
Yeah, he said, I've got documentation to prove it and all this. And I have to admit, up until I met Wendigoon, I really wasn't all that into conspiracies in general. When people start talking about conspiracies, I just kind of tune it out. It's, not very interesting to me. But man, I did see some stuff that made the moon landing looked really sketchy to me. And I was questioning myself, I can't question this. That's crazy people talk, because they were showing about how the foot sinks in 3 inches, but the space shuttle didn't sink in. And it had me convinced for a minute. And then I just read all the explanations. And
I saw either Japan or India, I don't remember which, maybe even South Korea, some foreign space agency flew around the moon the other day and took pictures of the landing site. Would
have been a globally coordinated effort here to try and pretend we went to the moon.
Yeah,
and I saw this documentary and it was so good. And at the end of it, I was like, this is how they get people like this, because I'm going to go look up the answers to these questions instead of insisting there is no answer to them, And they were talking about why a foot seemed like it sunk in, but it didn't look like the shuttle did, et cetera, and that we landed there. And I was like, that solves it.
I think we'll go back to the moon and at some point soon-ish. I think with our lifetime, we'll go to the moon. They kept my whole lifetime. We've been talking about Mars, and I don't think it's going to happen in our lifetime. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they'll
any closer. Are we any closer?
Oh, we could do it right now if we wanted.
Or Elon Musk.
It's just of spending the money, and
it would be a one-way trip at this point, right? Is what, if I understand correctly?
No. Well,
I read an article about that when I was in county jail, which was 10 years ago.
They could make it a one-way trip, and it would be, if they wanted to, it'd be a lot easier.
I don't think they're going to get many volunteers until they lie and say it's a two-way trip.
True.
Well, we're not looking for volunteers to colonize. We're talking about the first man or woman to step.
You know, it would actually be
we're talking about sending 3 or 4 guys.
We could. You know how Australia was just like Britain sending rapists and murderers and thieves?
Yeah.
Let them storm the beach, man. Ship a bunch of criminals out there
to go first.
See, you're under the impression that there aren't highly trained experts chomping at the bit to get behind.
No, they're there too, but we're not going to let highly trained experts take needless risks on Mars.
They'll die.
It's going if there's something where it's how deep is this pit? Well,
push it in, mate.
The kind of questions you need answers.
You just push them in and tell them to count out loud, and you wait until they stop.
How hot is Mars fire? 3. We don't know.
How hot is Mars fire?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's no Mars fire.
There's
no Mars fire.
Is there not? You couldn't light a fire on Mars?
No.
Why not? There's not enough. You need an oxygen tank.
There's barely an atmosphere at all, much less oxygen.
Okay, well, you need a Bunsen burner or something, and see what would happen, right? Because then that would be an external fuel. It could start the fire.
I would assume so, unless
Yeah, I
it
don't
uses
think-
a lot of oxygen.
Exactly. Have you seen like the way I think
does.
it was a NASA thing that thank God we know this for the billions of dollars. If you light a match in space, the flame just stays around it in a circle. And think of the applications.
What are you looking at me?
I'm not even going to get into them. It would take all episode. No, so much of space travel seems to be like, we need this for technology. It's like, what are you coming up with? Dry water? And it's like, water that you can get in and
They've
then
been
emerge
leaning
dry.
on Velcro for 30 years now, 50 years. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Velcro and
Why have we gone from hating on Elon Musk to the entire space agency?
What has space ever done for me?
Yeah,
so many.
Produce
things.
the planet, hopefully.
Do you know what GPS is?
No,
No.
Josh, the construction of this planet saved us from the harshness of space.
In space, though, it is still the cradle for Earth.
Look,
yeah.
I live in space personally. I've spent most of my life in space. I'm a big fan of space personally.
No, I'm a terrestrial boy through and through.
We say fuck satellites and all that. I didn't even think about GPS personally. I was like, we really haven't done all that much in space, but GPS is pretty nice.
Okay,
satellite TV,
huge W GPS
clocks.
Yeah,
no one's taken GPS away from them.
We're not belittling
Get in the
GPS
car
as
with
a
me. I
human
couldn't
thing.
find my house without GPS.
Yeah, I remember
Damn.
Garmin. Do you remember Garmin being a thing you could put in your car in 2002, 2003?
Was that the little GPS thing?
It was the
like
little
this?
GPS with that had a bag of sand it sat on and it sat on the top of your dash, and that revolutionized, that changed the game for me because I was no longer worried about getting lost all the time. That's been around for 20 years. What have you done for me lately is what I would say to NASA.
We made faster GPS, and it's on your phone
Did
now.
they?
That's about it. Well, at least accessible instantly on your phone. I think that might be about the leap and bound here.
Yeah, but that's double counting GPS.
The fact that I have no answers for you says nothing about the fucking space engine.
I think it says everything. I think everyone listening can draw their conclusions in time.
If a layperson can't explain the benefits of space travel, damn it.
Oh,
I
we
think-
take spy
I think-
pictures.
I think, but we don't get any benefit from that. I guess Google Earth is pretty sick, but we get to play that stupid game.
GeoGuessr. Okay. All right. Okay. That's
GeoGuessr
two.
W.
That is two, but GeoGuessr is just a form of GPS. So it's really trying to triple count the same GPS.
Hey, I don't
thing.
think it requires satellites at all, though. It's just that truck driving around taking pictures, right?
What is
GeoGuessr
one
might
thing?
be,
Probably.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but how
Since
would
it's
they
the
know
floor
where
street
to
view.
go?
But
What
the
do you
satellite
really-
is.
You probably just
Okay,
drive.
well, by that,
Know where to go.
by that logic, all things are GPS. So
Yeah.
just don't do that.
Whoa. No, I don't like it. I don't think they've done anything useful in the last 20 years. GPS, like all the examples of GPS triple counting. What have they done? Have
You know what the most
made a more a tastier chicken? Like anything like that?
Y'all know a real physicist would be
Actually,
shutting
the-
us down.
Tractors are self-drive now. I'm going to quadruple count GPS.
What does it use to self-drive? Fucking
There's no
GPS.
telling. I don't know.
Always has been.
Oh, they've done so much more than GPS. Here's 5 things immediately related to global positioning.
They keep making it better.
Yeah.
I think the future of that, like the next big leap, is being able to mine an asteroid and maybe bring it close enough that you have this. You could go fetch an asteroid and bring it into like our orbit or something, and just be up there mining it at close orbit at your leisure and sending whatever the raw materials back.
You think
to
that
Earth.
would like destroy like Earth's economy? Like imagine that we do that and we pull it off, and it's a meteorite or asteroid with
literally the most precious metal.
as much gold as is on Earth or something.
Yeah, that's an interesting thought, because I've heard them like talk about asteroids that would be like that. They would be so rich in rare Earth materials,
it'd
like
make
things that here are very rare, but wouldn't be perhaps in an asteroid.
$1 trillion asteroid, right?
It'd probably it'd become like the De Beers Corporation, where like whatever company owned the gold infinite supply would just release it in such a slow, measured supply that they could artificially inflate the price.
And that's kind of the whole point of the Expanse, right? That you've got those guys out there mining the asteroid belt and sending the raw materials back to Earth and Mars, the inner planets. But they've just built cities on the bigger asteroids, and they're flying around mining them all the time. No, I think that's like the next. If humanity lives for another 100 or 200 years, I think that's our next big thing, is mining asteroids. It has to be.
Probably that before colonization, I would think. Yeah.
It'll drive. It would drive colonization. It would be like a gold rush. It would be like a gold rush for space. The same way the gold rush drove so many people from the east and the west to California.
Imagine this: 0-calorie food.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Like the applications of space travel. If they came up with 0-calorie food,
like a pill you take and it has all the nutrients.
They make 0-calorie food. It just sucks.
Well, on the 0-calorie.
Have you heard of celery?
Yeah, not celery. Like steak, 0-calorie steak, 0-calorie shrimp, 0-calorie surf and turf. There's more than just steak and shrimp, but that's what I'm thinking about.
Keep naming foods.
So what's the purpose of 0 calorie?
Shrimp.
What's the purpose of it? Like, so you don't have to.
I think he just wants to have a big meal.
It's so you can overindulge and not feel bad about it.
I thought that was.
Oh, so like literally not. I thought this was like you were saying. For us to get deep into space, we're gonna have to make this 0-calorie. But no, this is just for shits and gigs,
this is just about like. If they could do that, think of the marketing potential. Who would have to be sold on 0-calorie food? No one. Everyone would be eating it.
Good.
So you know how you ever see one of those cows that has the port in its side so that you can see its digestive system?
Yeah.
No, I've seen clear sides on motorcycles, so you can see how they work.
They do this to cows too. So
really,
they cut a hole,
like a vinyl window on a cow.
Almost. They cut a hole in the side. Show us a picture, Zach. Look up cow with port inside. That'll do it. That'll
cow skylight.
But they have this. They got this hole in the side with like a plug, so they can like pop the plug out and reach in and like be like, "This is how the cow's stomach works." You see, I think that what you want.
This is true.
Zach's about to show us. What you want is one of these, Taylor. And you want one of these ports where your belly button is. And every time you have a meal, you just take your shot back and you stick it in the port. And you suck the meal back out of your stomach, and then you go right back to dinner. Okay.
See,
and I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. I don't want a port in my belly button, but where they're going to come in 8 different styles. I've got an 8 ball. Okay. Mine looks like an 8 ball, and it's styled, and this is called sixpackforyou.com. I install them.
Can I have like a skull and? Can I have a skull and crossbones on
option 3, yes.
That's like a heart made out of a domino.
I thought this idea was stupid until I imagined my belly button replaced with one of those ship's wheels with all the prongs out the side. Then.
And you're going to feel stupid until you're 10,000 calories into a feast and it's all just being fed into a bucket that you then go donate.
Eat until your teeth hurt.
What the fuck is with these cows? Crazy. That one's leaking out his port.
Yeah, it's
not
greasy.
It's because they put diesel in it.
That's a diesel-powered cow.
That cow looks miserable.
That's not miserable. It's got hay.
I'm Steve-O, and this is put sugar in your cow's gas tank.
This cow's totally not going to work anymore.
Yeah.
Wait for Farmer John to come out.
So the purpose of this, in my experience, has been for an educational type thing, so that you can show the multi-chambered heart, stomach of a cow and how it ruminates and digests and everything. It was part of school. We looked at a cow, and the guy reached inside of it and got some goo out and showed us the goo, and
it doesn't hurt the cow at all.
Oh no, we all took turns fucking it.
This really does look
evil. No, nothing like that. That looks evil to you?
To be uncomfortable. Like
the cows love it. They love it when you they like it when you scratch them behind the port.
They like it when you open it up and give their little intestine massage.
Tickle the inside of the udder. It makes their leg kick.
Poor guy.
It's a little sad, I guess. I think that if aliens came down and didn't differentiate between intelligences, they were like, the humans, they're like this tiny amount smarter than the cows, but they keep the cows in that pen, still their babies, and put ports in their stomach. We'd look like some real villains.
See, but like, I don't buy that thing. We're like, what race would be so beyond our intelligence that intelligence and analytic ability would prevent them from discerning between 2 wildly different populations, i.e. us and cattle?
Maybe
like if they were that smart, they would not go, they are all similar in our eyes. They would be like, well, this is clearly the dominant species on Earth, much smarter than the rest, pretty dumb by our standards, but look how they subjugate the lower creatures.
I think it's popular thing.
Do you differentiate between insects? Are you like ants are so much smarter than grasshoppers and roaches?
If grasshoppers had societies that had buildings and structures and organized
termite mound.
Ants build houses.
Literally, ants do that. Like ants
build all
must
those
think
chambers.
themselves the humans of the insect.
They have a
world. Like,
queen.
look at this.
There-
Yeah, we have a queen. We have a
there
social
is-
structure. We have
Bees do something
We're
similar.
building
Bees.
structures with these tunnels underneath. Crickets, on the other hand, just jump around like idiots. They're not
That
smart
is-
like us ants.
That
but
is true.
here we are so much smarter than both crickets and ants. Me at least.
You and I
are
did the other
not
day?
getting this, and we think that crickets and ants are basically similarly stupid.
But
Hey, you guys
the,
about
the
giving-
same way that I mean, but even just now in this conversation, we revealed that we do put value on the ability of the ant to form structures.
Now you
And
say
so
we, but it was me.
hierarchically-
You, on the other hand, weren't getting it. Therefore, in the hierarchy of people, I'm just saying.
I don't know. It seems like I'm implementing your argument to beat what you were trying to say.
Well, see, the problem here, Taylor, is if
I don't
the
know.
aliens send astronauts like you wanted to, they send those retards, then they're not going to be able to differentiate between anything. They're just going to kill us all. I
They
think
wouldn't
that,
even stop
like
by
maybe,
Mars.
maybe the
If you want
aliens.
to take my argument and act like it's yours, then I'll just call you Elon.
well, like maybe the aliens,
Yes, this is true.
maybe the
No.
aliens that come don't even have bodies. Maybe they're like machine people, like intelligences in a machine. So when they look at like humans and ants, there's not a huge difference because
Biological.
we're all biological.
They wouldn't be living though. They
Sure
would have
they
been
would.
created by
Living?
something else.
They could have taken their intelligence and injected it into machinery long ago, and now they travel the endless reaches of space with their infinite lives, living in their machine craft.
That's a real
That-
sci-fi theory. That's what I assumed he meant, as the continued
Yeah, sure.
consciousness in a machine.
Why not?
Would it be their consciousness? Isn't
Well, we
that
don't-
interesting?
Now that is
like,
a different topic.
like
Yeah.
how
Well,
would
we
you
don't-
download it on? It would be like
do
copy
you
and
prove
pasting
it?
a document. So you would die, and then a mimicry of you would survive.
That's the whole
But it wouldn't-
transporter
it wouldn't
paradox.
Be you.
Yeah, that's the transporter paradox in Star Trek. So when you beam someone to one place to another, it tears you into a million tiny pieces down your atoms, remembers how they were stuck together, and tells the machine somewhere else to build a new you, basically, with the atoms in the same place. And you pop out and you're like, hey, I made it. But it's not
With
really
memories
you.
and all.
You died back on the fucking Enterprise, jackass.
Yeah,
It's season
and it's just
one.
a new you every time, right?
Season 1, Captain Picard, you're dead. And
I would
Bones
say-
never wanted to get on the thing, and he kept making him. It was mean.
Died
Yeah,
over and over
teleport is
again.
Interesting.
I would say that I look at most animals, and this is not correct, but this is like a blanket way of looking at it. I look at pretty much animals as animals. That's not really correct. Some monkeys use kind of tools, and some
Yeah.
species of animals. Dolphins seem to have really intricate communication.
Both
Ants
those
and bees
species
build
discovered rape.
houses. Oh yeah, and utilize it to the fullest extent, which very few species have successfully pulled off. By the
Yeah,
way,
the
I think it deserves
orangutan.
some
That
credit.
can't be
Leading
true. I think
charge.
they all know how to rape. You ever see a
Probably.
frog gangbang?
I've seen some dogs
No.
where it was definitely not
Yeah,
consensual.
the frogs. I was looking today. The frogs like getting this big pod together, this mash, and the females just start spraying eggs everywhere, and the males show up and they just jizz like they
bukkake in
jizz.
it.
They shoot more cum than I do, and it's this
Wow.
big foamy like eruption of
Good for
cum.
them.
And they're like five
Right.
or six of them at a time are just covered in eggs and cum, and they're just doing that ribbit thing all balled up together. It looks like a hell of a time.
So it's like 6 males all
Zach,
hoping
Zach,
that
would
their
you
sperm
Google
cloud.
Zach? Would you Google
Pretty much.
frog orgy real quick, and you're gonna get a picture of like a bunch of little green
FBI.
tree frogs all balled up together, fucking, and there'll all be a lot of foam. I want a lot
Actually,
of foam.
look up
Lots
look
of foam.
Up, look
extra
up,
foam.
Zoom
Look
in
up
on the phone.
gay frog orgy. I want to
Yeah,
see
for no
if,
reason.
if Alex
Science.
Jones is on to something here.
Actually, I went hardcore and binged frog orgy. You cannot show these images.
Damn,
Don't
frog.
bing it.
Bing,
Google,
the
not
search
Bing.
engine for degenerates.
Dude, Bing is where the
The
porn is.
pedophile search engine. Someone was telling me that
9 out of 10
that's-
pedophiles agree.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also the search engine of Wings of Redemption. Coincidence?
Ooh, that's
to find
gross.
Oh,
That is frothy.
poor
Wait,
guy
I've seen that
taking
video.
So much heat for that.
Wait, is that the
Oh,
frog?
it'll be
Oh
fine.
my god!
Yeah,
it
that's
is.
cum. That's cum.
Oh, it's frog.
they're
cum.
all
That's
dumping loads on
ejaculate.
the big piles of eggs.
And there's like one poor girl under there somewhere,
Oh,
allegedly.
of course, she's having the time of her life.
She was literally made for this. This is her maximum dopamine,
built for
absolute
it, you might
call it a
biological.
soup
She was built for it, and no other purpose than to be
Which
drowned
one
in
is the
frog semen.
female?
Yes.
That's what they're asking right now. Which one's the female?
Well, I
Sorry,
think they're-
Frank.
Again, like they're having, I think they're just like shooting eggs out, and then they're like coming all over the eggs. So like, I don't even know why they're hanging around.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
knew
it
there
was.
was a
Yeah,
lot.
what
There has
else?
to be a lock and load tie-in.
I mean, what else do they possibly
Has to
have
be.
to do other than hang out?
Well, they were taking lock and load. Only one frog could have made that much
All
fun.
right, we've seen enough frog come. Thank you, Zach. Appreciate it.
I don't think
very
there's
much.
any lock and load in this week's rotating GIF.
Oh, there
There's
should
now.
have been, because God damn it, we're
Mm.
selling the
perfect
best
one.
cum pills on the internet, and it's
We
important that
need
people know
lock and
about it.
load in there. The finest cum pills money can buy, people. So,
Oh, for what it's worth, I was going to say, I think that all animals are basically same degree of intellect, man. That's not
Nah,
technically
they're
true.
not.
They're not. No,
Good
I'm just
people.
saying that I look at it as like we got humans and then everything else is on that totem pole of they're kind of
Yeah.
conscious or not. That's
So
not true
That's
if we zoom
racist
in.
or speciest or something.
Yeah, it's
definitely is. And
I'm
it's
more
meant
into
to be.
Homo sapiens over all other species, man. I think they're the master species.
oh yeah,
Gay.
I'm just going to say that. I'm coming right here on PKA. I think the Homo sapiens is the master species on
Yeah.
planet Earth.
they're the.
but
I'd rather.
it's
interact with
possible an
animals.
alien wouldn't think I'm really worthy of life, I guess. You know, I mean, I don't say I used to hunt when I was younger. You know, I'm a felon now, obviously, but I used to go kill deer. Deer don't build houses, but I stomp on an anthill when I see it. I kind of regard them both
You
as
stomp on them?
I'm alpha.
Like
Not
for
anymore, but when I was younger.
I still do.
Yeah, I'll stomp on an
I
ant.
thought
don't
we were
really
gonna.
see 'em
I thought we
anymore.
were about to connect.
I don't have a weight problem. I weigh like 80 pounds on Mars.
Big fat fuck on Jupiter, though.
I wonder what it would be like if you went to the surface of Jupiter, right? Because it's a gaseous planet. So at what point do you like
Wouldn't you just
float?
fall in?
You'd fall
It's
in,
not
but
all
at
gas.
some point, is there a solid core? Is there?
Determine if there is a solid core. I think I watched some sort of sciencey Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse.
Would I be standing on a solid core eventually? I know I might die, but let's just work without
Yeah.
that. Would I stand on
Yeah,
the solid core, or would I find that the density of the gas is somehow enough to float like water?
You'd get to an equilibrium in there way before it got to the density needed to turn that gas into a core. And so, like, you would get down a bit, and then I guess it would be dense enough to equal.
So there's such a thing
human
as
mass?
gas as dense as fluid as water, I guess, because water's about human density, right? You know,
I guess it would depend on what kind of gas it is. Yeah, because the density of some gases would make them turn to a liquid, while others would not.
I want to keep talking about this for a while because it is hilarious how out of our depth.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
What kind of gas in Jupiter?
What would
I think it has a solid core that isn't.
Hydrogen.
Like, the core is hydrogen.
It says Jupiter is mainly made up of hydrogen and helium.
Yeah, I think it has a solid core though. I think I read that.
I think they all.
If I read it, I mean, watched it on TV.
What happens if you stand on Jupiter?
I'm
God,
looking
you
at
know-
that too. So if you weighed 100 pounds on this is a horrible article. The gravity of Jupiter's surface is 2.5 times the gravity of Earth. So if you weighed 100 pounds on Jupiter, you'd weigh 250 pounds on Jupiter. I read that correctly.
Oh, this would not be fun. So it says far beneath Jupiter's atmosphere is a gigantic ocean of liquid metallic hydrogen, which would look and behave like Mercury, except that hydrogen has 60% the density of water. So you would sink for tens of thousands of kilometers to reach a hot, molten, rocky core that's possibly solid.
Oh, so we'd get all the way to the core.
Oh, you got a
eventually.
good
Parts
guess.
of you would.
Yeah, I want to work past the whole death and dismemberment thing.
How long does
Okay,
it
you're
take
the
to sink
artist.
tens of thousands of kilometers? Like years?
No, because you're not. You're
That's
going
only a
pretty
couple miles. You're thinking in miles. Just fucking with you.
No, it's pretty fun.
They're not the
It
same.
would take you forever.
No, you're going quickly. You're falling.
But you're not falling through like free air. You're falling through like increasingly dense, semi-liquid hydrogen metallic fields. I close the article, something like that.
I mean, how much is it? Bottom of an ocean, right?
I don't know.
Me either.
Oh, it
I
says
lost interest.
Jupiter may have a solid core because it captured a comet or a temporary moon and sucked it in the middle.
Cool.
That's neat. So it
Maybe
did
that's
what we were talking about, and now it's stuck in the middle.
Maybe that's where the aliens.
That's where they want us to. Isn't that the best place for us if Earth doesn't work out? Europa, which is one of Jupiter's moons. I think it's Jupiter. Is it Saturn?
I don't think it's the best place for us at all, but it is. They do think that it's one of the best places in our solar system to find life.
Or is it Titan, maybe. I don't
Because
know.
there's well, neither of those places would be good for us because they're so far away. But I think they're saying that those are good places to find life because beneath the core of Europa is liquid water. They believe. It's like an ice moon.
Yeah, I'm still outside my depth, but I've heard Neil Tyson deGrasse say that too. How close did I come on that name?
Nah, you just juxtaposed them, but you got
Neil deGrasse Tyson. All right, someday.
Nailed it.
I'm getting close. Yeah. Well, so it's pretty much our only hope. Mars. We got to try and fix Mars.
This is our
only hope. The planet that is closest to habitable turns out to be Earth. It's almost.
What happens in like 1,000 years when it's like really fucked?
It'll still be better than Mars. Like it
much better.
If we have the tech to turn Mars into an Earth, then we probably have the tech to turn a bad Earth into a good one.
That's it. The problem would be like an event that would just destroy the Earth, right? Like an asteroid impact. That's the real thing pushing people to Mars, or the idea of going to Mars would be to prevent that. Although, like, just living on the surface of Mars, you're dealing with an enormous amount of radiation.
There's
like enough that it's not healthy.
I have to wonder if a spaceship would be better than Mars. Like, just like a cruise ship. Like. I mean, you could live on a cruise ship comfortably for a long, long time. Could we not get this spaceship to grow food and either harvest or have some sort of giant energy source like nuclear that just lasts for a long time?
Like the Halo from Halo?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, do we even? Because even in Halo, you see it, the Halo, that seems pretty cool, but it's too big. We can't make that.
Make a little one.
We can't make that.
Make a little one, spin it faster, you get good gravity.
No, we can't make that. Well, why is it not a good idea to make a Halo?
We don't have the materials to make it.
Says you.
Yeah.
A little bit of stick-to-itiveness, put Elon Musk on the case, and we'll be
Did NASA make a gigantic announcement yesterday about the moon?
NASA said they were going to make a gigantic announcement because they like when people pay attention to them. What I guarantee what it is that they have more evidence that there's water on the moon, which we've known for a while.
It doesn't seem very wet there.
No,
I mean, I've seen it. It's kind of dry and dusty.
It's not liquid water.
Well,
then it's useless.
Yeah, you can't.
What do we do with that solid water?
Throw it
away.
Yeah,
get it out of here.
I've looked. I even have a telescope, and the moon is the thing I'm best at finding. And it's true. It's true.
For me, it's the sun.
Another sunny day.
I always find it right away.
Just blood dripping from your socket.
Actually, looking at the sun, it seems super interesting to me because I see these cool pictures, and I wonder if you can see the flares. But the amount of equipment that it takes to safely look at the sun is outrageous.
I remember this just popped into my head after years. I remember this kid that I was really tight friends with in grade school. He was a little bit of an odd duck. I haven't talked to him in
for me, it's the sun. That's
13,
a good line,
14 years or something. Probably almost 20. And I remember once we were out playing recess, like playing football, whatever we were doing. And for some reason, he just goes, Taylor, look at this. And he just goes, he didn't challenge me to do it too. He didn't count. He just look at this, Taylor.
And now that man's our 45th president.
Yeah, me and Trump, we were tight. Like, why are you hanging out with this 9-year-old? You're 58. The moon one is more interesting than that.
I like ones that there aren't many that I'm like too deep into, but there's some that I'm like, okay, 1% maybe. Okay, I see a thing there. That's weird. The moon thing, Woody's often points out that like some of those photographs that they used were fake. Not the moon specifically, but there's a spacewalk, and they doctored photos and showed the public doctored photos of a spacewalk just to make them look a little bit nicer. And if they go to that length, then that means, frankly, that there just happens to be a Photoshop department at NASA for some reason. Everybody's like, yeah, they just sent it over to the Photoshop room at NASA. It's like,
which video did they fake?
What else do they do there at the Photoshop room at NASA? You open it up and it's colossal. Like it's a whole.
It wasn't a video. It was a photograph. Like there was a bunch of apparently legitimate photographs, and then they slipped in a couple illegitimate ones. Just to add
spice it up.
spice it up, have some more, and that damaged their credibility. Now, I don't think the moon landing is fake, but there were some fake pictures in there, which gives the conspiracy theorists some ammunition.
I talked to someone who like is, I wouldn't say they're a moon landing conspiracy theorist or anything. They just are like interested in that stuff. And he was like, why didn't the landing craft make any craters, I guess they're called? Like, why didn't it indent into the surface of like the soft dust on the moon? And I'm like, well, because it did. And then I like looked around and was like, okay, you checkmated me there. I can't find any where there's a crater, but like there must be a reason that
I think it touched down really gently.
Like it would, right?
Well, I
like,
mean, I've seen the video, right? Like it did touch down really gently.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, what I was getting at is like that one kind of bothers me a little bit. Sasquatch doesn't ever appeal to me. The ghosts and goblins either. But when I hear someone start talking about that birds aren't real, then we just need to have a whole different conversation. You can't engage with a birds aren't real person.
Yeah, there's no entry point there.
You go straight to mental illness.
Yeah, right.
What other animals aren't real? I mean,
I'll talk to you about Sasquatch all day because there was one.
Giraffes are total. Giraffes are fake. They're not believable. Why would there be a 40-foot tall spotted moose?
That would be the way to talk to a birds aren't real person. If those are even, I can't tell if birds aren't real people are real or if that's a meme making fun of the also mostly fake.
Giraffes are bullshit. They're clearly cameras on long poles. That's why they have those necks like that. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. It's the most logical explanation.
I fed one.
I've seen them. I fed one also. They have them at the zoo here.
They got that long blue tongue that like does the loopy thing.
I mean, it's very believable. I'm not saying it's not.
Those are the best damn animatronics I've ever seen. Woody, I got a way to. I can disprove your theory for $8,000. Exactly.
Only. Guys, come on, let's just make it
$10,000. We're gonna murder a giraffe.
That's what it costs. He told me for $8,000 you could shoot the giraffe. You get a dead giraffe out of this.
Well, I'm not saying there are no cyborg giraffes. I'm not saying that they don't have
I'm in for 2,500. Yes or no?
Yeah. Whereas I'm sure that wherever desert they filmed The Martian in is rough.
Sad. It's sad.
There's probably in Southern California.
I bet he's on a Paramount studio or whoever made that movie. I don't know. I bet he's in one of a big old blue screen
moon landing site.
Yeah, they went low budget by doing it on the moon instead of actually.
That's my conspiracy theory: is that Stanley Kubrick is still alive and still faking space.
Oh,
I haven't heard that one. I don't think anyone thinks.
Yeah,
that.
I think that's only that's true. No, I believe we went to the moon 100%. We did all that stuff.
I mean, nobody else has been, so we're definitely the winners.
Lots of people have sent probes and shit, and I think we're going. Huh?
That doesn't count. You can't send rovers a person there. You can't send a person there and then be like, dude, look how impressive this rover is. Like once you've gone that, you can't go back.
What I would do if I was China, I would send like a self-assembling like monument or statue or something that would kind of one up the flag that we left. And I think maybe we left a plaque that said we came for all mankind. I think that's what it says.
Sexy.
But
a plaque,
pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably made out of platinum or some shit. It lasted a trillion years. But no, the Chinese should land some sort of little robot that like assembles itself like a wedding cake, like taller and taller. It's just a big Chinese.
That would
like
be
maybe
great.
A picture of maybe Mao. Just sort of looking disapprovingly down at the American flag.
I want like Mao and Neil Armstrong and a Captain Phillips meme that says, "Look at me, I'm the astronaut now." That's what they should be.
The astronaut.
Xi Ping. Maybe the statue is just kind of a comical Xi Ping or whatever his name is in the astronaut suit, like smiling. That's the one-upsmanship that I'd like to see out of the Trump administration. If he comes back from the 7-point deficit that he's at right now in the national like popular poll, just
I didn't know
numbers.
that.
I believe he's down 7. It might have been 9. I think it's probably 2 different polls.
It's so early. I actually think
so early.
Ron
Yeah, I agree.
DeSantis will win the primary, but I'm not sure.
He's not going to put a statue on the moon.
No, not a fucking statue. I need Donald Trump to go.
Ooh, make the fucking NFTs real.
I need Donald. I need Imagine, here's the thing. Donald Trump sold NFTs of him on the moon. If he then became president and actually went on the moon, do you know what a Donald Trump on the moon NFT would be worth?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I would like to see Trump make
absolutely
a major plank in his platform just to recreate all the NFTs. I want to see him as a cowboy, an astronaut. What else did he do?
The Secretary of Treasury, I'm choosing this NFT of a dollar sign.
You want a Trump calendar shoot?
Dollar sign.
Yeah, it's a Trump calendar shoot.
I need him to go though. Like, what if he announced he's like, not only are we going back to the moon, I think I'm going to take a personal hand in this. I'll be captaining the mission, and so he has to like. And
that'd be very Trump-like.
For whatever reason, according to military code, to do what he wants to do, he has to have a military rank. So now he gets to wear the uniform. Right. And he just he slowly transitions into the uniform. At first, you're like, yeah, he has to be in it. It's his induction day. He's being respectful. And then, but he's wearing it that night at the party, like the after party. And they're like, he wanted to spend more time with the crowd.
Of course.
But then the next day, he still got it on.
I hope that he'd come out and be like, people, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe it, folks. Just found out just now. We never went to the moon.
Oh.
We never went, but
but
believe me, folks, this is being corrected. You've been lied to for too long. The Trump administration is making it to the moon. Don't tell us we can't do it. We can do it. These scientists, they tell me they destroyed the technology. You can't go anymore. I say, fuck you. We're going.
That's who's going to be the first man, Mr. President? Who's going to be the first man or woman, or perhaps other, to step foot on?
It's going to be Barron. It's going to be Barron Trump. We want to have the first 7'6" person on the moon.
That's awesome. He will be the tallest astronaut ever, as well as the first to step his very large.
Wear the uniform.
You can wear whatever.
I looked for Trump in pictures of his uniform, like for real, and he wore what I'll call Air Force style jackets, but he's commander in chief
uniform.
I'm
not trying to be silly.
No, it was.
It
was a military. It looked like an Air Force jacket or an Army jacket or something, and it was while he was president.
Oh, like a bomber jacket. Like I've seen a lot of guys do that. I don't know that that's
what I can find it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it because I want to call a
W
spade a
get some photo shoots.
I thought you were referring back.
W was he was a pilot in the reserves, and
true.
Like here's Zach, you can show it if you want. So he wore this, and there's a couple different things I've been wearing stuff like that. But I wonder if is he entitled to wear an actual uniform as commander in chief?
Well, it looks to me like he's wearing a jacket that has like it's like a commemorative thing, maybe with the Gerald R. Ford, right?
Right.
And then, but then that's just his fucking name, and it says commander in chief. Like,
wait, is that what you see?
Yeah, on our right, his left breast, it says Donald J. Trump, commander in chief.
Like I told you, I make my things so small so I can look roughly at the camera. I put you.
I understand. Yeah. I'm just sharing.
Yeah, I see it now. Yeah. So, right. So that's like military-ish, but it's not a uniform. If you told me the commander in chief was entitled to wear the uniform, I'd buy it.
Yeah, I bet they're allowed to wear whatever they want.
Again, what would his rank be?
Commander in chief.
He wouldn't. No. He cannot wear a fucking military. The whole point of the presidency, if I understand it correctly, is that you have a civilian running the army.
That's true.
That's separation.
Yeah.
It cannot have a fucking rank. What I'm saying is this jabroni makes it so he becomes a goddamn banana republic fucking like commander in chief. You know what I mean? He's like, hey, they call me the commander in chief. I thought, make me at least a commander. Hell, fuck it. Make me a goddamn 5-star general. No, 6. The first ever. Like he's just making shit up.
Second ever.
6 stars? We've had 6-star generals?
Didn't they make Washington?
How many Dragon Balls were there? I mean, Jesus.
Isn't George Washington the only 6-star general ever?
I heard that.
They gave him like a special rank above everyone.
What is it called when they do it with a dead guy?
Posthumously.
Yeah. Posthumous. That's what I'm looking for. I think they might have posthumously made him a 6-star.
I knew it was some sort of trivia thing where it's like, oh, actually, George Washington ranks higher than everyone because they gave a special, because it was basically a magic combo Like,
like okay, they retired that card. It costs billions on eBay now.
Yeah. Oh, no, reverse. I'm president.
What is it? The Black Lotus? Is that
the Black Lotus? That's the expensive one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, on the subject of astronauts, would you like to see the youngest astronaut in space? It was via like Jeff Bezos.
Let's see.
Think yes. Quite good. Here's a Twitter link, Zach, if you'd like to pull up any of those photos. And I'm not kidding. This is the youngest astronaut currently holding the record.
He's not sending babies, is he?
It's a furry. They went in a fursuit, in a furry suit.
Did he wear? They didn't want to risk losing human life.
They are in the astronaut suit. Like, look at this.
It's like, yeah, they actually did it. That's what that pose means.
Yep, they let me.
What? His pronouns are he, she, and they. That's all of them. People do that.
Yes, but his species, on the other hand, is that's Mr. Meeps. Goddamn it, that's not a look. I bet Mr. Meeps is one hell of a goddamn astronaut. You know, I got no judgment. I worry about the potential for fire with his furry suit. I really hope that the apparatus for relieving themselves will conjoin with whatever portholes or ports is.
This is the vanguard of our potential PR wing to aliens.
Nah,
this is like we need somebody. Put like who's a good Patrick Stewart. He's old.
Oh, yeah. He has Matthew McConaughey. Patrick's too old. He's frail. I want Matthew McConaughey leading the fucking.
Before it was cool
because he can be smooth and calm with the aliens, but if they step out of line, he can go there. You know what I mean?
He'd be like, hey, go ahead and pull that out of my ass. Pull that out of my ass.
I noticed looking at your energy shields, they're not very polarized. Do you know how many nuclear weapons we're in possession of? Like, he could go there. He could go to a scary place. He could talk about virus bombs or something. Notice you're carbon-based as well. Pussies.
We are not threatened by you.
Do y'all have pussies?
Now we are robots, I guess, instead of aliens.
I'd watch that movie. I'd watch a movie where Matthew McConaughey was standing down the alien general on First Contact. And he was like, y'all a bunch of pussies. Actually, do y'all have pussies? Dave, explain the concept of a pussy to this motherfucker. And like some guy next to him like explains what a vagina is and all the context and everything. And then Matthew McConaughey just punches him. I need that.
You gotta put that head to head with the summer blockbusters. Matthew McConaughey fighting back
Avatar
in a
3.
weird, perverse way against the aliens, where they're like, we are here to share technology. He's like, hey, I'm going to talk to you about pussy. Once again, we are here for curing disease.
If I could hang out with one celebrity, it'd be Matthew McConaughey. I'm so sure of that he or honestly, and they've done stuff together. Woody Harrelson seems pretty chill too. Like those guys in particular seem like they would be down to earth and not. Seth Rogen seems like such a fucking piece of shit.
He doesn't seem fun to hang out with. Tom Cruise seems fun to hang out with. He could take you on adventures and show you how to do flips.
Oh man, he's gonna want me to. I don't know if it'd be like that Seinfeld episode where George wants them to try to get him in the cult, but they're not interested in him, so they don't try to recruit him. And he's like, "You don't want me? I'm not good enough for you." He's like, now he's trying to get in the cult. Like Tom, the whole time I'd be ready to reject Tom Cruise's invitation into Scientology. He wouldn't say shit about it the whole time, and I'd be like giving these leading. I'd be like, yeah, I grew up really religious, but just didn't do it for me. And man, antidepressants, no thanks. That just doesn't feel right on the inside. He'd be like, hey, whatever works for you works for me. Everybody's happy. Let's wouldn't say shit. Oh, come on, God damn it! Talk to me about the thetans. I want to get fucking censored. What do they call it when you hold on to the little poles and they ask you all those
tested?
My body thetans.
Mm-hmm.
I've got so fucking tested. Many, Tom.
You sound like a candidate for Space Force.
Yeah. Oh, who doesn't want to be in the fucking Space Force?
Did you see their uniforms?
Star Trek series.
Yeah, why do they have camo?
Did you see the Space Force uniforms? The internet went wild because they're camouflage.
Why?
You know what it should be?
It should be orange or something.
It should be black with those little glowy stars like you had on your ceiling as a kid. So you could just.
It should be that black that.
Now I want to be.
Isn't there like a new black now they invented that like literally absorbs like 99% of like,
Vanta black.
Vanta black.
Yeah, it should be that.
That, or just like Buzz Lightyear protocol.
Sir, I've detached from the ship. I'm floating. You've got to rescue me quickly.
Well, I know Woody's into that.
I see where you went there.
I'm the one in digital camo floating towards the sun. I can't see you. We shouldn't have camouflaged.
Yeah. Look, I don't know why everybody makes fun. Nobody would make fun of the Space Force if anybody but Trump had suggested it. They'd be like, "Yeah,
we would
finally a president."
No, we would, but
Oh.
here's look. I don't like Trump's maybe my least favorite person on the planet, so I don't defend him lightly. All I will say is this: he's such a dope and so bad with secrets. The fact that he's so into Space Force makes me think that he knows something.
Oh, I like where you're headed with that.
He's given away tons and tons of military secrets via Twitter, via Mar-a-Lago, via conversations with Russians where he's like, yeah, we got spies out there, and people are like shut the fuck up. So I think Space Force, he's like, fuck, aliens are real. Space Force.
Yeah.
What if that's it? What if they showed Trump the Area 51 ships that Bob Lazar was always talking about?
Yeah.
What if they showed him the body and he was like, all right, well, we've got our own spaceships, right? And they're like, no. Obama didn't want to fund that stuff. Are you fucking kidding?
Exactly.
We need a Space Force.
I'm not.
He's just all night. He's watching reruns of Star Trek, like taking notes. Like, yeah.
And I want big titted bitches in tight clothes on
You
can't pass the pull-up requirement. Have big your tits, sweetheart.
The sweetheart was the best part of that.
That's all you gotta do. Yeah. Now the Space Force has potential to be. It only has the potential to be really cool if we get like phasers, like laser guns. Do regular bullets work in space?
Regular bullets don't.
Space Force is about the holodeck. It's all. That's all I want. The holodeck. This is a paradise filled with make-believe horrors. That's what the holodeck is.
We have holodeck already. It's called a 3D printer. We're like not far off.
I've never been blown by a 3D printer.
That's true.
I have. It was incredibly painful.
Technology is just not there for a smooth robot dick.
I promise you, there's 3D printing plans out there.
It's like a million hexagons just in and out, in and out.
That sounds pretty good.
Like a nail file.
Micro tears in your ass skin.
So they did
printer fleshlight.
They did make a weapon for space. It's called the gyrojet pistol. The pistol has like these little
cartoon.
It looks like something out of a cartoon. The ammunition it's firing these rounds that are powered by little rockets, and I've seen one before. I've seen the ammo for it before as well, and I knew a guy in Vegas who had a big firearm collection, and he had a couple of these things. But yeah, I think that for one reason or another, regular firearms don't work in space.
Yeah,
is it because do they have their own oxygen?
No, well, I don't know exactly.
Can you imagine being so into guns on Earth that you run out and you're like, well, I guess I'll get laser. Man, I'm like, Jesus, how bad is your gun addiction that you're like, all right, well, what would I use to kill an alien?
This 3D printed fleshlight I found is really disappointing.
We should have an answer for that question, though.
It involves a condom and a sock.
Yeah.
Wait.
Well, I hate that.
Modern guns have their own internal oxidizers, chemicals that ignite the gunpowder and fire the bullet. In space, where there's no gravity, your bullet could keep going forever as long as it didn't hit something. So,
also, wouldn't it blast you the opposite direction? If you're just like floating in space with a pistol, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
And you would float forever in space. I don't know. I just want you guys to think this through before you fire a handgun in space.
I don't think I'll ever have to jump over that hurdle. Okay, My life's not headed in that direction.
That's something you don't need to have on your bucket list.
I know the cosmonauts, the Russians, they had this really interesting firearm that could do a couple different things. I think it was a shotgun as well as like a rifle, but it wasn't for space combat. It was because every now and then when they returned, they landed in fucking Siberia and they needed something to fight the wolves and the bears with.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah, we had lovely like just the Atlantic over there next to Florida or whatever to land in, to splash down in the warm 80-degree
Actually,
water.
you probably need a gun in Florida as well now.
That's a good point.
There's a couple guys on bath salts.
We're landing in Tallahassee. We got to make sure we're...
Dude, that would fucking suck. Being a Russian, like you're surging back down through the atmosphere, hoping you're not going to die. And it slams into the tundra and you're like, all right, Nikolai, easy part over. and then you fight your way through fucking bears.
That's what happened to
Yetis.
the first manned spacewalk. It was these two cosmonauts. He goes out, and of course, and it's live on Russian television or Soviet television. Everybody's watching. Everybody's fucking, yes, we've won again. And then the guy realizes that because of the pressure differential, his suit has inflated, and he can now he can't get back into the capsule. So they cut the feed. They just cut the fucking feed, and they play like
what feed?
The feed.
Oh,
I'm like, please enjoy video of bears playing hockey.
Yeah, they actually played like Mozart's Last Repose or something like that. It's a really sad, like, it's like the end of a sad movie music.
So
And
Russian.
Did those guys die?
Well, it's kind of a story. So he's out there floating around, and the other guy's inside, like, and finally he realizes he's got a pressure valve. So he releases the pressure valve, causes extreme pressure sickness though, because he releases a little bit too much pressure, gets himself back in, and they go to close the hatch. And don't think of like a modern spacecraft, which are still we're not a Star Trek level. They're in like a capsule, right?
Like a submarine in space.
So there's no like airlock per se. They have to put their suits on, and then they just open a door right next to them, and then one of them can go out. The other one is in zero oxygen as well while he's watching his buddy float around out there. So buddy finally gets in. There's a close the door, and the door's it won't latch. It's a fucking Russian door.
Oh no.
It goes on for a while. Well, they're slamming the door, and because they're in zero gravity, that's creating force. It's pushing the craft every time he jerks the door and impacts the craft with its own door. They do get the door shut, but then they realize now we're tumbling. So now they're tumbling, and they're like, we got to get back to fucking Earth. So they bring the thing to re-entry. They land like, I'm gonna get this wrong, but let's just say 3,000 kilometers from where they're supposed to be in Siberia during bear and wolf mating season. And I don't think they had a firearm. I think this was the incident that caused them to go, we really need the gun for the guys. They're landing up. It's no good. They found him after like 30 hours or something like that. All safe and sound. Soviet heroes. They made it. But like 8 things went wrong that should have
That's a way more interesting story than Apollo 13.
It's pretty close. I don't know. They made it back with like, they really MacGyvered their way back to the planet. You know,
I just want to see a 20-minute scene of them trying to close the door.
Yeah,
You'll never see it.
They
We're playing Mozart.
They made a
like if they were to redo it and make a movie, he's saying, just 20 minutes of them slamming doors.
Yeah, Apollo 13 was a great movie. Those guys traveled 250,000 miles in a MacGyvered ass, if you can even call it, spacecraft. Yeah, that was. That's
I'm sure it was real hard surviving that soundstage in Burbank.
You're not one of those guys, are you?
No, I'm
not. Good. I think that they definitely faked some things, some of the footage that they put out there. That's kind of a known thing.
How do you go from you're not one of those guys, are you? But seriously, they faked a lot of shit.
Well, they did. Like
they
it's plain to see.
Like
it's plain to see that if they faked some of the footage that they have of a spacewalk in particular, like it's clearly obviously fake, and everybody kind of like, yeah, that's reused footage. It's like, well, that's not what you said when you broadcast it. You said this is our astronauts live spacewalking.
Which clip was this? I'm not familiar with this.
I would have to go down to Wikipedia.
It was the one with George Clooney and Sandra Bullock. Turns out that one was totally fake.
You can see
it looked real.
Stanley Kubrick's belly in the background.
Is that the giant baby from 2001?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
It's just in the background shaking the shit out of Shelley Long. Be afraid. Jack's coming.
The more I think about the space race, I think it might have been what you said this a while back. Like, we totally moved the goalposts on the Soviets. Where like they made it into space with Yuri Gagarin or whatever, then they did the orbit or whatever, and we're like, nah, that was actually never the deal. It was actually the moon.
Yeah, we just lost
the moon the whole time.
Yeah, like first they make it to space, then they make it around the entire planet, then they break some sort of speed record, then they go longer duration, then we get to the moon.
First monkey in space,
all
first
those
satellite.
things first, and then we're the first people on the moon, and we're like, ha, that was the race the whole time.
Yeah.
Scoreboard!
And we totally screwed them because they're like, well, but you took all of the Nazi geniuses. If you give us 5 of your 10 Nazi geniuses, then we'll call it fair. No, we're keeping all the Nazi geniuses. And then we're going to slap an American flag on it.
Like, we beat the Nazis too, more than you.
Where should the flagpole have been, right? For victory. Like we also got to Mars first.
I like going around the Earth. Because I look, I'm
I think
outside my depth.
They quit is the fact that they quit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I think is when we won.
Getting into space, I don't even know. Isn't there like a spectrum on what space even is? Like, there's not a line between space and not space, right? If
Where are you going with this, Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I'm saying if you make it like, let's say 50,000 feet in the air, have you made it to space?
No, that's a halo jump.
Right? Where's space exactly? Do you have to get out? Do you have to get to zero gravity?
You're saying there's no exact
right? What if you get to zero gravity, but a few revolutions in, you get pulled back in like space debris, right? Do you have to get to the point where like you would orbit and continuously leave our orbit, right? You just go further and further away, farther and farther away, right? Like, so where exactly is space start?
Well, I mean, there's a well-defined there's some scientists who do that sort of thing, and they wrote a number down.
I don't think that's true.
So in the U.S., space begins at 80.4 kilometers or 50 miles in the air at 264,000 feet. The general international consensus sets a similar limit for the start of space at 380,000 feet. So
what was the other one?
264,000.
See that? No, thank you. At first I was like, "Fuck, am I wrong?" but then it's like, so between 280 and what'd you say, 304, 340,
264,000 and 380,000 feet, and then all the satellites it says are between 525,000 feet up and 6.5 million feet. So a good bit of
saying
space.
Is it's not like in the cartoons where like there's a line between Nevada and California. One side's space, one side's Earth.
I'm pretty sure what you would use as your determining factor is when you're in low Earth orbit, when you stop falling back and you start orbiting, right?
Right, but things that are in orbit could go around 6 times and then get sucked in, right? There's all kinds of space debris out there, for example, that's getting pulled in all the time. This is why they don't have to worry about it. So all I'm saying is, like, I don't know exactly where space is, but maybe you circumnavigate in zero gravity and that's it. I don't know exactly what it is, but
I think that's what Virgin Galactic is talking about doing, right? They're this really high altitude where they're just on the cusp. They're in that little in-between area to zip from one continent to another.
Yeah, but there's no exact art on it. What I'm saying is space fades in. Like the atmosphere.
It absolutely fades in. It's certainly not like going from in the ocean to in the air, right?
Perfect.
There's an obvious line.
There's a very distinct difference. Yeah, whereas in the
I could see that. Yeah, I get your point somewhat.
You can't just go put one toe in space like you can.
No,
you can though. There's
no,
I guess not.
I'm just gonna dip my toe in space, guys. I'm not going all the way to space. I'm just gonna hang.
They had to find 120,000 feet of like gray area, which was kind of what I was getting at. So yeah, I don't know how to define the space winter exactly, but maybe circumnavigate the globe in 0 degree or 0 altitude gravity. Anyway, we're getting lost in the weeds.
I think the space winner is the country that ended up with Tang. Thank you.
That's true. Do you remember how I'm younger than you guys, but do you remember how excited you got for the Tang commercials when that orangutan was bouncing around up in space?
You and monkeys. No one else got excited monkey by that. Thing with you.
You were the only one on
No, Taylor, none of us were like, Mom, there's a monkey on TV.
Look at him. He's drinking the Tang.
You and monkeys is hilarious.
I remember specifically asking my mom at whatever point in the 90s being like, you got to get Tang. You got to get Tang from the store. And I remember like mixing it up being like, God damn, this is what astronauts drink. And maybe I'm right. It seems like a terrible thing for astronauts because if you're in 0 gravity, having a bunch of orange powder floating around doesn't seem ideal. Right?
I think you mix it inside of a squeeze pouch.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, they probably weren't doing it in their mom's kitchen at the age of 7.
There's so much about what astronauts do.
Oh, no, that's where you're wrong. I know they drink Tang and do something scary I have no interest in doing. Yeah,
Sam.
I don't even know if I would take a free trip up to space.
I quit. Look,
Taylor,
I quit
what if I told
diving.
you that being an astronaut involved working with monkeys?
Well, that's that's interesting.
All right, Taylor, you and Lieutenant Bimbo here are going to go into low orbit. You're going to go 8 trips around the Earth, and Wait, well, I don't even know anything about how to operate this. Don't worry, Bimbo does. You look over at Bimbo and he's just like,
look,
Houston, I fell asleep during the safety onboarding and Bimbo's throwing feces around the cabin.
Taylor, we want you
yeah,
to
that's
know
right.
that
When he
even
throws
though-
the feces, that means that your number one O2 booster is low. Okay, you're going to want to adjust that.
Taylor, we want to let you know that if anything goes wrong, Bimbo is absolutely in charge.
Yeah. We're going to ask you to defer to your commanding officer.
That's kind of sad, all those animals we sent up there, because like I'm sure school children back home were like, oh great, they sent a dog up there. I can't wait. Are we gonna get to meet him when he comes back? And they're like, comes back? What do you mean comes back? He's gonna slowly roast to death on the re-entry. That's kind of what happens here. That or run out of oxygen. That's what happened to all those critters. They either ran out of oxygen or they burn up on re-entry.
How many, well, I guess that's probably not even public info. So how many monkeys and animals like dogs did we kill up there?
That's absolutely public info. What everything NASA did is transparent. It's
What
the
about all the ones they
cosmonauts.
smushed in the centrifuge on Earth? We didn't hear about those.
Oh,
That's true.
The stuff the cosmonauts did is very shady. Like we don't actually know like how many people that they're like, oh yeah, this guy's the first one into space, nailed it on the first try, and it's like, did you though?
Yeah.
Did you though? Maybe he's the 8th guy who tried to get to space, or the 9th guy who tried to get to space. He's at least the 2nd, right? Like they sent up a couple of those fucking dudes and tried it out. I don't think so. Rogan's got that whole bit about how like we're gonna have a bunch of like nerds sitting in a fucking control. The smart people are never the ones they send up first. They're down there sitting there turning their knobs and looking at screens. They got some square jawed corn fed guy from the Midwest. They shoot up in the fucking space. He doesn't know what he's doing. He just knows enough to turn the knobs.
He is not he's not crucial to the operation.
They got a bunch of him.
Yeah.
A guy named Buzz was not the smartest guy in the operation. I guarantee you.
I was watching some TV show where a guy was insulting astronauts. We think of astronauts as perhaps the greatest career there is. It's certainly way up there at the top. And he's like, it took them decades to swap you out with monkeys. Like you do nothing up there. You're ballast. I'm like, maybe that's true. Maybe there's something to that.
Somewhere we're getting our asses beat for real are the Soviet space statues. We need cooler statues about astronauts in space.
What is this you just sent here? Oh wow, that's like a giant.
Yeah.
Like a giant sword person.
It's a giant Yuri Gagarin.
Yep.
He's got his cool fucking spacesuit rocketing out of the Earth. Why don't we have stuff like that?
Damn. The Soviets have some good statues. They're top of the game there. That motherland thing with the chick and the sword. Like,
yeah, that's pretty tight.
But that's all they had. We had
North Koreans are on their game too. You ever seen that thing of Kim the grandfather, Kim Il Sung? Yeah, like on the horse and everything. They don't fuck around with that stuff either.
I haven't seen that.
Saying if your country doesn't have movies, you better have good statues to look at.
That's true.
Has he been actually?
I'll say this: Elon Musk is building rockets to space, while the other billionaires are building bunkers in the Earth. I like Elon. I like Elon. I like the space thing. I don't care if his car rusts. I don't care if it randomly takes off and kills people. I don't care that he exaggerates. Even though I am on the side of killing those Russian invaders, I kind of like that he said, no, I don't think I can let you use Starlink to do a whole coordinated attack on their Black Fleet. It feels like I'm Sergeant Elon all of a sudden, and I didn't sign up for that. This is a telecommunications network. Like, if I do that, then what's to stop the Russians from considering my satellites legitimate war targets and me maybe a legitimate target? I don't really want to do this.
Starlink now?
No. Oh, the Russians are using Starlink?
They are, but I don't know details beyond that. I don't know if they're
militarily
stolen. Yes. I don't know if they're stolen satellites on what are the freaking dishes on the ground called?
Receivers?
Sure, we'll call them receivers. I don't know if that's what they're called, but maybe they took them from the Ukrainians and now they're using them for themselves. Maybe they have some bootleg device.
Oh, you just turn that shit off. It's a subscription service.
Maybe they don't know who owns it. Is there record keeping? But apparently they're using Starlink now. It's a thing.
I'll have to look into that. I hadn't seen that. That's crazy because I thought of it as like it'd be like stealing somebody's cell phone and like, oh, the bad guys have your phone now. Now they can use it.
Yeah,
man. I called called Singular, or I don't know who you call it now.
Fuck, Putin got my Hulu login. How am I going to handle this? I got to cancel it. Easy
Let's see,
peasy.
from Forbes, trusted news source.
From Forbes.
I'm not disabling my ad blocker. I'll just choose to believe you.
Wall Street Journal says the Russians have thousands of them. Is that a better source?
I guess. Oh, I wasn't dogging on Forbes. I don't know anything about news networks.
I find Forbes to be a little
Ukrainian lieutenant
what
general.
is the attention grabbing?
Oh, New York Post, right?
No, I was going for like their little clickbait
tabloid.
Or a little tabloid. That's better. Forbes a little bit tabloid, which is funny.
Yeah.
They had a really respected magazine, and their website just became garbage.
Garbage. Yeah, it's weird. I guess you go for what sells. If everybody's doing that buttoned up sort of, here's the news today from older white folks and how we see things. But if you get a little more sensational and a little more tabloidy, I guess it works better. Well, that's weird. Maybe I don't understand fully how Starlink works, because I know that when I've looked into it, because my dad's in that internet hellhole, it's like you pay for the dish the price has changed because it's one of those early adopters things. $700 for the dish, the receiver, and then it's a subscription service that you're paying like monthly fees, and they get you a certain bandwidth. I would guess maybe there's different plans even for like faster speeds, but it seems odd to me that I guess he's just providing service to Russians.
And that article Woody linked, it says that SpaceX has said that the people selling those in Russia are scamming them and that they don't work in Russia.
Oh.
And I don't know.
They might be using them in Ukraine? ?
I have no idea. This is the first I've heard of any of this. But Starlink as a whole is kind of cool. Like it's going to be great when it's awesome everywhere. Can you imagine?
I think it's awesome most places. Like I think they're almost there. Have you seen how many there are? Like I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen the graphics and all that shit, and it seems like a lot, but it's also
like it's like thousands of them.
Of satellites.
I've seen. I can't see it with my naked eye, but maybe it was a good lens. But you can see they're in a band, moving around it's like this one followed by that one followed by that one. You can see them in this like very straight line moving.
How do they decide who gets like rights to space real estate? Because what if some
there was we signed the powers that be had a whole talk about space and decided when they decided they couldn't into the nuclear testing in space, right? I know they've decided
is that just America and Russia? Like, because who else could do that shit?
Yeah,
China, I guess. Can India?
Well, if we're talking about launching satellites, anybody can launch a fucking satellite, obviously.
What was the exact question, Taylor? Can India?
I was meaning like Kyle was like, oh, the powers that be kind of decided, sliced up the bits in the celestial realm up there. And I was like, oh, well, the powers that be, when they decided that, must have literally been like, all right, here's a Russian guy and an American guy, and they're deciding.
Probably so.
And so maybe now with other countries, they're going to be pissed.
Well, whenever there's actually the technology to go up there, like that show Woody and I like for All Mankind, if it was like going to the wild, to California back in the day, if it was an arduous trip, but yeah, we can all do it. It's not a big deal. We just go. It's hard, but we get there. Then we might be like, yeah, that treaty was from 1967 when we decided that no one owns the moon. Turns out we kind of do own the moon because we're here and we have anti-space guns, so you can't land on the moon anymore. And so now we have to blow up their anti-space guns on the moon, and now we have a moon war, which is not done enough in sci-fi. There
needs to be something on the moon worth fighting for.
Just real quick, I self-fact checked. India landed on the moon last year.
Yeah, little rover
not with
thing.
people though. Doesn't count. We are so far past giving a shit about a robot landing on the moon. India shouldn't even get props for that.
India
done that
said
100 times.
No sooner than 2040. They did say by 2040.
Their plan to go to the moon again is upsettingly stupid. There's so many rockets involved. Our plan.
Okay.
Our plan. Like there's so many rockets involved with getting all the fuel up into space to like couple that bitch up. It makes me wonder how they did it the first times. It's like, dude, damn, there was technology. Shame we threw away all those rockets from the 60s.
I guess they don't want to do it in a tuna can this time around. Like a
fuck that. That's
like a
bullshit,
ball of
dude.
tinfoil.
Nah, it's bullshit, dude. I'm not buying it. They're like, we're building a more spacious. We want more leg room. That's all. That's why it's taking an extra 50 years to do
It's
it
like,
again.
what the fuck? In 1969, you went there with tinfoil and string, like, and we can't do it now.
It was very
I
dangerous.
saw the Tom
chick
Hanks
saved
movie.
the other
Yeah.
characters and became president.
That
That's
was a
luck
TV
involved.
show. Apollo 13 is one of the all-time greatest space movies. That
is a movie, Kyle. You can't believe it.
It's a movie.
That shit happened though. That shit happened. I love Tom Hanks up
Shit
there.
all over my scene.
I can't remember which astronaut it was. They had to calculate their own reentry and maybe paint on the glass and use that to like get themselves home.
That's a movie? Right?
I know it's happening in a movie, but it happened in real life too. Like it's based on a real thing that I think a Russian did.
That a guy did who's doing math up there and had to.
A friend of mine flew.
I'm gonna find it.
There's a discontinued kind of helicopter that the army uses. It's like a Yahweh or does anyone know their helicopters?
I know Apache, and that's it.
This is like it's more silent and not as cool or advanced. But anyway, it can shoot missiles. So the way that they did it is they shot missiles and they watched them. Then they took a grease pin on their windshield and used that as their target.
Interesting.
Yeah. They just retired this thing like 3 years ago.
That's pretty ingenious. Very smart.
It's pretty low tech.
But it's to think of something like that in the
Iron
moment. And be
Sights version with a helicopter. Yeah, that's what they do.
So Kyle, you don't think we're going to the moon in the 2020s now? Oh, you're muted, my friend.
No,
I told
no, we're not going in the 2020s. You know what? It will take finding a resource there or a military advantage there, or it will take a very motivated president. Like it'll take an individual. It will take a guy who's like, man, space is my jam. Space is my fucking jam.
Why doesn't Elon Musk go personally to the moon to flex on everybody?
You'd have to ask him. I think he's got his own plots and plans, right?
No one's going to the moon right now. Oh, by the way, that helicopter is called a Kiowa. For the six of you that cared what it was called.
There's some helicopter out there who's like, yes.
Like, I want to know what helicopter. What he's talking about. What the
was.
fuck is a Yahweh? That's God and Jewish or something.
Named after the Kiowa Indian tribe, of course.
Yes. Kind of insulting. We named them after
Apache,
Indians.
Comanches, you didn't say a word. You hear Kiowa and suddenly you're not so happy.
Yeah. Well, it's more disrespectful. It's kind of flexing on them, right? It's like they didn't know how to, they never figured flight out. And now
we're gonna name all our fucking fences. Like, look, we named this fence Apache after the people who chased buffaloes around for centuries.
You know those like pretty cool Stone Age tribes that we dominated. Fucking 4 games in a row, swept the Indians. It wasn't even close.
We named this wheel Neanderthals. They didn't have that.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
or Cro-Magnon. Maybe that's I don't know. Whatever.
Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal. All the old ones, all the hits, the classic humans.
I like those Hobbit people of Indonesia. I think those are by far the coolest. People? No. The Hobbit people of Indonesia that they found. It was an offshoot of the human race. It was one of our cousins, like the Neanderthal were.
You know who I like? The Sentinel Island people. If I have my history right, like 150 years ago, people from the mainland brought them disease. And since then, they don't understand disease. They don't get it. They're a very primitive tribe. Everyone knows the Sentinel Island. There's barely any contact with civilization. And it doesn't matter what you do, they won't be your friend. You can show up and give them buckets of oranges, live pigs, dead pigs. Doesn't matter. If you get within spear throwing distance, they will kill you every fucking time. And so many people have tried to bribe their way into a relationship with them. They take your shit and fire bows.
You give me a sword and plate armor, and I can conquer Sentinelese Island. The 3 of us in plate mail run roughshod over the Sentinelese.
What would actually be the? I don't want a sword. I think I'd get my ass kicked. I'd get
no.
Fatigue would be our enemy.
If I don't have a gun, I'm not going. Like you don't want to go with a rifle, and you do want some kind of fucking arrow armor because they are going to shoot arrows at you.
Yeah.
How about one of those bomb suits, an AA-12 and a sit and spin?
No, they're gonna fucking be all over you. They're gonna pin you down.
They're gonna the sit and spin. They can't get behind you.
Have they ever?
They're gonna burn you alive in that suit.
Have they ever been shot at ever?
I go out there every weekend, dude.
You
they don't fucking learn. International waters are a bitch.
you're just piecing them up on their
It's hard to hit them with the waves chopping, but they don't run so good.
I think we need to take Sentinelese Island from them unless they can demonstrate they're doing something with it. Pretty sure it's
Why not
multiple
get on one of these? What do you call it? SpaceX things. Go to space.
Oh, I do that. I do that too.
Yeah, but isn't that better? It doesn't being at the top of the mountain not matter anymore when you can go to space.
Yeah, but you didn't do anything
not an
to achieve
because you didn't walk to space.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So if I set up a walking bridge to space, that's what you want.
Yes.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
How about we get you into space and there's a treadmill up there and you can walk around and pretend?
That would be fun. That'd be better than Everest.
I do any of those things. Yeah, I would definitely do that. I genuinely believe I wouldn't have any trouble doing it. Like, it's not like the people who are doing that are 25-year-old professional athletes. It's dentists.
Yeah. I'd want to go to space if I had like a huge amount of control over what our elevation was in the craft, because I'd want to see what stuff looked like.
You get no control.
Yeah, I know I don't get any control. I'm saying, like, this is 200 years in the future when everybody gets up there. It's fucking a day trip and they put you in a pod and you can kind of peek around. Like, I'd want to go way up super
I'd want
high,
to go to space
and then I want to go way
provided I
down.
had nothing to do with controlling the ship. That's critical. If
Hey,
they put me in charge.
I got this.
Yeah, I when I had a baby, they asked me to cut the umbilical cord, and it's like, me?
Nah.
Jesus Christ, this is a hospital. There's doctors all over.
Yeah.
And you want me?
It's going to be
You
just
pull out
like
your
that.
gladius.
My Leatherman.
It's going to be just like that Titanic sub, man. They're going to hand you the Xbox controller and you got to pilot your way around.
Okay, I guess I would want it in more of like a go-kart, like a kid's go-kart place where I have a little bit of free reign, but they can pull me back in just in case. Because I'd want to see how mountains and like the topography of the planet looked at wildly different elevations. Like, oh, I'm at this height now, and now I can like I can see that river. Oh, let me look at the little map. Oh, that's the Nile River. That's really cool. Let's go higher up. How high do I have to get until I can't see that at all?
It's Google Earth.
No, but like you'd be up there. You could look.
That's an airplane.
Yeah, but no, you can't see anything fucking cool from the airplane.
You want a personal hovercraft, and you want to go up and down and see the elevation of rivers.
Not just rivers, all of it.
Oh,
I'd want to get high enough that I could see the lines in between the countries.
cool.
That's a good idea.
That's what I want to do.
I think I'd want to float around in zero gravity. I'm not like, man, I got to see
I'm
what
just
that
saying
mountain
that
looks like at a
as
certain
it
height.
stands right now, I don't feel like going to space you'd even get much out of it. Like, it's so early in the beginning of it. Like, there's no way
Well,
there's
did you
that much
see when
cool.
Shatner went to space?
Here's
And it
what I
was
would
supposed to be
see.
like this big PR thing, like about
Yeah,
how
we
great
talked about
space
that.
is. And then he was just like, man, that was the most depressing fucking thing in my life.
Why
because-
didn't you like it?
Space sucks.
He said
He's like,
that
because
he
you looked at
stared
Earth,
off-
like, it's the loneliest. We're just on a rock in the middle of nothingness. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking crisis
something
up
about-
there.
He said something about staring out into the
That would be
empty
sad.
void of it all and realizing how truly alone we were or something. But here's what I would get out of it. Here's the reasons I would want to go to like the space station, for example. First of all, you're going so goddamn fast, Taylor, once you're up there. Like, I don't know, like thousands of miles per second or some shit. That would be cool. Just like, yeah, I went 20,000 miles per fucking hour. It was me in outer space. I'm one of the fastest human beings of all time. There's only been 87 human beings have ever gone as fast as I've gone. That would be fucking cool. Also, the zero-G weightlessness of just like being a kid and doing like spinning barrel roll cartwheel type things in zero gravity and goofing
No,
around.
you can do that on a
So
plane.
much fun.
I've seen
Okay,
I've seen
NASA
them do that.
research plane for brief periods of time when they do loop-de-loops. I'm talking about chilling up there with a bottle of water and squirting little orbs of zero-G water at myself and like playing with Jello, doing it for a day or two up there. That would be so fucking cool.
Yeah, okay, that would be cool.
And seeing the Earth from that point of view, that again, only like a few dozen people have ever seen, like looking down and seeing it all, like the whole world from right there through that window would be really.
It sounds cool. But I
I
know
would like
me,
that.
And there's 100% chance that I would make some zero-G vomit as I'm up there in
Oh.
space.
Oh, there's a
turning
vomit bag
around
for that.
Upside down. There better be a vomit vacuum or something. I'm not sure if that bag gets it done.
You got to use the same thing they put their dicks in to pee. No, Woody, don't use that. That's the cum one.
I thought it was salty.
You look at it, it's an asshole.
Man, this astronaut ice cream tastes weird. No, Woody, no. Not as chocolatey as I hoped.
But I wouldn't want to be up there long. Like I wouldn't want to be
days.
It fucks up your bones. Days. That's the weirdest thing. Like the guys who are on the International Space Station.
Do they get taller?
No, they get weak bones.
But I think they do get taller though, because like their bones start floating away from each other.
Yes,
like
I've heard that.
Like you're losing like the cartilage between your bones because your bones are no longer, this constant downward force on your bones keeping everything together. Like all your limbs are just floating out there.
Yeah,
I'm serious.
Straight.
They get less dense because you're not, continuously putting that stress on your bones like you do your muscles. That they heal back from. You're getting very less dense bones, and you're also getting weak as shit.
Your bones could lengthen like a belter.
No,
says NASA's found the height of astronauts increases approximately 3% over your first 4 days in space. So you start
pretty good.
Your height starts going up because your bones are floating away, like they're no longer compressing downward.
Yeah. Especially if you go to the chiropractor first.
You go to the chiropractor and then you double up on your length.
You go to space. You get chiropractor, then space. They stretch you out and then you never go back.
Yeah, but then you're going to come back to Earth and very quickly, go back to Earth size.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know how the science works on that one. But one of the things that turns me off is like the whole bathroom and like shower situation up there. Like I saw an astronaut be like, "This is how we shampoo," and it's like the shampoo that you don't take out. You just rub this goo in your hair, and you're like, all done. And it's like, I'll shave my head. Where do we shave our heads at?
This device is for make believing that we're clean.
Dude, it takes one stinky
sand
guy
in my hair
to ruin everybody's time.
Shampoo.
Oh my god!
I think it's a lot of moist towelettes.
A lot of moist towelettes
and shitting.
That's my
shitting and
move.
Pissing into that bag every time, or not bag, but like that vacuum situation, whatever. Like all that seems so awkward. I can't imagine living up there for months at a time, especially the way we do it. It's not even that sci-fi bullshit where you can kind of move around and there's plenty of elbow room. Like they're in a little closet up there. That thing is tiny.
The whole crew would come back traumatized. Like Woody masturbates a lot.
Woody, use the vacuum bag. It'll make its way back to me.
Woody, at least look out the window while you're here.
You'd have to shoot a lock and load commercial for us while you're up there.
Woody, we're going on a spacewalk. I'm doing stuff. Come on.
Yeah, he was looking at porn on his phone the whole fucking time.
You're supposed to be monitoring the oxygen levels. You're there jerking it.
I wonder. The astronauts don't talk about it. I wonder if jerking off in space feels great. I wonder what that's like.
I bet it's a mess.
I was thinking sex would be a problem because most of my
the body
involve gravity.
Yeah. Like
you Velcro that bitch to the wall. She's in trouble.
You Velcro her.
Have they ever confirmed anyone had sex in space? Like,
I don't talk about that. I don't talk
100%.
about that.
100%.
I bet Leonardo DiCaprio flies up there and fucks ladies all the time.
Has happened.
You think he does?
He's probably got a spaceship. Yeah. If he doesn't have one, he knows someone that does.
He is cool, and I like him, so I bet he has.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Leo.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
He's got good. I like his style.
You like his style? What else does he? I don't know anything else about him.
He fucks.
I know he
unapologetically and rides around on his yacht. They'll write a whole fucking. They'll do like 30 articles about how dirty old man Leonardo DiCaprio is, and they'll just like find a new one and buy a new yacht and go fuck her on it.
Everyone was talking about Charlie Sheen and his tiger blood. DiCaprio's over there living the life for real.
Yeah,
what do they call themselves? It was like Leonardo DiCaprio, Tobey Maguire, and a couple other guys. They're called like the Pussy Posse or something like that.
Right.
Yeah, it was
Tobey
Leo,
Maguire. I didn't guess that.
Jake Gyllenhaal, and Donald Trump.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire. No, there was that film they made. What was it? The something's Peach or something?
Spider-Man?
No, it was like before.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
No, they made this like weird little like indie film that was just like them hanging out at a diner and talking about like fucking chicks. And then the guy who made it, like all of a sudden Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire like blew up, and their agents were like, if that film ever comes out, it's going to ruin you. And the guy's like, well, we shot the film. I have the footage. I'm going to put it out. Like, I invested all my money in making it. And they sued the shit out of him so that he couldn't distribute the movie. And it's just young Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire talking about slaying puss.
See, they should have bought the movie.
I think it finally came out somewhere, but it's like 20 years after the fact.
So what you do is you have some subsidiary or some other media company purchase it for you on your behalf, and then you shelf it forever. The UFC did something similar recently. They had somebody buy Bloody Elbow for them and then deleted all the articles about their antitrust shit.
Really?
Yeah.
The movie was called Don's Plum. That was the name of the restaurant that they eat at.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
2001.
That's interesting.
There's like a documentary about it, and like basically they said, if you try to release this, we're gonna sue you into the ground. And it's like I forget where I watched this documentary about it, but it was interesting.
And it's very
crazy
religious.
stuff. Hold on.
Wait, did he talk about flat Earth?
Yeah, like flat Earth and not believing in. Look, sometimes when you accidentally misquote someone who's saying some wild, he said something like he doesn't believe in space, or he does like crazy wild shit like that in these interviews with Michael Bisping, who's a serious MMA former fighter, journalist.
What did he say is out there?
Dude, you know what it's like talking to those people. When you corner them, they go like, "That's what you think, huh? That's what they want you to believe."
They should have pressed him harder and be like, "Interesting. What's out there? Fill us in."
I mean, there's a whole video of him talking about it. I don't like that shit. I feel like it's brain rot. I'd rather listen to Warhammer lore and learn about some nonsense that never did happen.
Dude, but you saying the flat Earth thing, like we've talked about before, that when I hear someone say that makes me believe they're less sincere. Because
some people believe it. Like all right. So I always say this because I think that people who are smart enough to be able to have a conversation that can prove the Earth is round, like you should be using your brain power elsewhere. Never try to dissuade a flat earther, because they come in two categories, and one of them makes up 90% of them, and that is the trolls.
Yeah,
they love pretending like they don't understand. It's the same thing as me, I don't know how to turn this TV on, and then you watch the guy fiddle with it because there's a secret fucking knob, and you think it's fun to watch him flail about. You're trolling. You're getting a reaction out of them. You're goofing on them. But then there's the other 10%. They're the reason that these things persist beyond just a joke. They are mentally ill and people who are at the far end of the intelligence bell curve. Like they're really far end. Like if they were any dumber, we'd have someone looking out for them. Like they'd be, you know what I mean? Like really diminished people. And they start thinking, they hear someone say, this is one of them things, they don't think you're smart enough to understand. You're like, yeah. People are always saying I'm not smart enough to understand things. Tell me more.
I get that every day.
But not you. You believe in me. Tell me about this flat Earth. They're trying to. They don't want me to know because why don't they want me to know? Those people exist too, and that's what Bryce Mitchell is. Unfortunately, like he's a real dum-dum.
He says he's not. I don't know what the truth. His line is, I don't try to outsmart people. I try to out-stupid them. And I say stupid things, and then they get themselves talking in a loop, and they're very frustrated, and it's funny to me. That's what he says. I don't know where his truth
all right, I need to hear him say that then, because then it's a different story. Then he's in the other category with the rest of them.
Yeah, then he'd be in the 90% of people trying to instigate a reaction.
I believe that 99% of the people who don't believe birds are real, for example, are having a big joke.
Yeah, that has to be a tongue-in-cheek joke.
All right, another fantasy story. We'll get off the politics a little bit. Here's the good fantasy story. You'll like this one, Taylor. Like the humans are invaded by elves, dwarves, and orcs.
Okay, I'm in.
Turns out all that shit was real, and they exist in another dimension that's like right against our dimension, however that works. Yeah. And they open these portals and fucking invade, and they've got dragons, and they are burning Americans, the Mexican cities. They invade in like Portugal. Day? Yes, it's like modern day. And so like the dwarves are attacking like Southeast Asia, I think, like burning villages, and their dragons are eating people. And I think maybe the elves are in Mexico, and they conquered like already a third of Mexico in this crazy war with their dragons burning everything. And then like the U.S. military shows up and they just kill them all. They've got F-18, so they
Were
murder
they
all the
allied?
dragons.
I was like, dragons have a range of like
yeah,
70
it was a
feet.
coordinated attack. Like
a 70-foot range
Oh, that's
attack
not
in
canon.
air battles is not, it's nothing.
It's
terrible.
great.
Yeah.
At first, I'm listening to it and I'm like, damn, I wish our militaries could do something about this. And then they're like, and then the military showed up. And the dwarves couldn't really do much about that because they had machine guns. And
dude, I'm pretty sure the cartels could have handled that.
At the end of the story, they're like, and now I'm in the army and I'm on a troop transport looking through our own portal at their purple, filthy sky. We're going in. And it's like, oh man, I kind of want to see. That's the kind of movie that I wish that I would actually watch. Like that sounds fun to me. That like the elves and the orcs invaded our realm and they made a huge mistake, like Pearl Harbor, and then like we're just not gonna show mercy.
Well, the
We're
movie
going to go
would be
exterminate
like
them.
the elves and the dwarves started invading because the orcs had taken over their homeland, and then there was some sort of stalemate reached, and the agreement was that the modern army would have to go back and join them to fight the orcs, and only then
Not
would they
that.
stay in their own domain.
No, I want to kill them all. I like to kill them all.
wrong
I'm
with
feeling
the
very
dwarves and the
xenophobic
elves?
of late. That's another thing I like about those Helldiver games in general, just the pure xenophobia of it all. They're like, kill them all, anything that isn't a human. That's one of the things I like about Warhammer too. They're super racist. Just
I don't think it's
so
xenophobic to be like, we should kill these flesh-eating monsters.
I don't know what Latin for hate is, so I don't know what to replace phobia.
It's like we watch like a mantis tearing your friend apart, and you're like, "Oh, get him!" And they're like, "Wow, little intolerant."
Yeah, but even in like Starship Troopers, like, but that's the fucking satire of it all, right? That like in Starship Troopers, we started those wars. Like we started the whole thing.
Finished them too.
Did we? How'd we start it in Starship Troopers?
We invaded their star system and attacked them, and then we false flagged them. If you remember in Starship Troopers, the bugs throw an asteroid at us, and they hit Buenos Aires or something like that in South America.
I do remember that.
Yeah, imagine this: they're from the other side of the galaxy, and we've recently started a war, and somehow they threw a rock at us that should have taken like, let's just call it 100,000 years, even though it's longer. But it was here in like a week. What happened was they bombed their own people and said, "Look what the bugs did." And then they have their invasion. It's implied in the movie. There's a lot of
it got past me.
There's just no like how'd they do that? They don't have that. They don't have ships. They live on a planet. Like they're beetle people, like they're crawling around down there and shit. They don't have that capability to throw a rock at Earth. Anyway,
Starship Trooper.
I love Starship Troopers. I watched that one a lot. I even love that. There's a lot of satire in the book, but there's so much more heaped on top in the movie. Like they go so far as to make sure they've cast only these pretty, like, beautiful people, because the movie is supposed to be propaganda within propaganda. It's Johnny Rico's like, I don't know, handsome McHandsome guy, and then his girlfriend's like the prettiest girl you've ever seen. And I don't know, they always choose the military. They've got to forget the family. It's about the core.
Dude, I'm siding with pretty humans over bug beasts 1,000,000 times out of 1,000,000. If I was a dirty bug beast, I would side with the bug beasts.
I think that actress's name is Denise Richards. That was prime Denise Richards. She's so fucking attractive. All jokes aside about like you're not really existing. Like, who's to say that any of us exist? You might just be the one guy here. And because of the way time dilation works, either perceived or real time dilation, it doesn't matter which. Your whole life, your whole existence could have just been this little boop where somebody booted the PC on. So it just like ran all the memory real quick. And you're just that. Your little flash of energy that ran through the circuit boards real quick. And everything is none of it's real.
That thing about Europe existing.
I hope so.
I've had that thought too. No, I've been to Europe a couple of times, but am I sure I have? Right? Like I wasn't watching the whole time. They could have taken the plane in great big circles, landed me not too far away from home, and told me
you stirred a memory.
I went there by plane. I went back by boat, and they could have still fooled me. I don't know.
Just circling over the Great Lakes.
You stirred a memory. I forgot to write this down in my Stone journal the other day. So there's this British reality show from I don't know when, the early 2000s or whatever. And what they did is they ran a national contest. This is not long after like
Virgin and other people started going to space. And by going to space, I mean, like, you know, they go to the upper atmosphere, look around and come back. So they announced, we're sending, I don't remember how it was, 4 to 8 Brits to fucking space. You're going up, and we're gonna they're gonna have a reality show to fucking pick the person. We're gonna go through astronaut training, and that's part of the show. And they do. They have this national fucking thing, just like American Idol, where they get all these people together and they boil it down to the best of them, and they put them in the plane to fly to Russia to do their training. It's partnered with the Russian government, like a lot of that stuff was back then. You could pay the Russians like 20 mil, and they'll take you up to Mir, to the space station or whatever. Well, they put them in the plane, and then they did circles around the UK for about 6 hours, and then they landed them at a base you've probably seen if you've seen any action movies before. It was in The Rock. It's where they stole the VX from. It's this impressive military base they train in over in the UK, and they shoot a lot of movies there. Well, they land them there, complete with Russian guards and dogs barking, and then they train them up to be astronauts for a few weeks or months or so. You know, silly stuff's mixed in though, and they're always like, "Why do they have us learning this? This is silly. This doesn't make sense. It might be a gag." Oh, that guy gets voted right off or whatever. We don't need him. We don't need mindset on the show. So then they're like, "All right." Just they bring a scientist in, and he explains to him how once you understand gravity, you can control it. Because we've got to explain why when we get to space, there's still going to be gravity, right? Because we can't fix that. So, long story short, they take these Brits to outer fucking space eventually in a fake spaceship, and they think they're in a fake spaceship up in space. And then one of them's like, "I don't know about all this. Do you think we're really in space?" And they're like, "Of course we're really in space, you nit."
Oh, harumph.
You need a couple plants in there.
Dude, it was so fucking good. They tricked those people into
What is
think
this
they were
called?
I can't remember the name of it, but if you search like British fake space show, I'm sure you'll nail
That's
it.
hysterical.
I had never heard of it until I
so
watched some YouTube video
embarrassing.
about it the other day, and I was dying laughing watching the clips of them like training to be astronauts, and like just them buying when the scientists like pointed at like a chalkboard and explained how there would be how they could control gravity, and they had like a gravity generator.
It's called Space Cadet.
Space Cadets. That's a great.
That's a good name.
That's also what you call stupid
a
people.
retard. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe that's the new show for me. Maybe I'll watch Space Cadets.
Yeah. That sounds infinitely better than Succession.
Yeah,
I'm
sorry
gonna watch
that-
Space
I-
Cadets.
I
I tried.
like-
It is a show. You know, when you watch a show and you sincerely really try to like it, like I found myself in like episode 5 doing that thing where I'm like, this is fucking stupid. No, like come on, it's got Brian Cox in it. Like keep watching it. And it was last night I finished episode 6, and I'm like, this is not good. This is
All right,
just
I've got a recommendation.
bad dialogue.
All right, so maybe there's a show on Hulu called The Old Man, and it's that's pretty good. I only got 3 or 4 episodes into it, and I got sidetracked, but not because it wasn't good, just because I got sidetracked.
Oh, Jeff Bridges, I love him.
Jeff Bridges is a star. He's on the screen 80% of the time, and the villain is
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow.
Man, I love him too. This is great.
Yeah, it's pretty good. He's got these 2 Rottweilers who are like his super duper trained, like loving companions. And there's a scene, a couple episodes in, where somebody gets the best of him. They kidnap him or whatever, and he's in the back seat all handcuffed up. Well, somehow or another, he like manipulates and kicks the guy, and the fucking truck wrecks, and they've had this ridiculous fight where he's fighting handcuffed, and he's like 75, so it's not going his way, but he's still like this really well-trained old man. And he's got a 6-pack, by the way. Jeff Bridges has a 6-pack somehow. He's like 70s.
Man.
He looks strong. And and like finally it's like, shit, Jeff just got his ass whooped. And the guy's like, "Are we done?" And the Rottweilers show up. They've been running the whole time. Because this guy's drove away with Jeff Bridges. They've been chasing the dust of that car for 20 fucking minutes, and they just caught up.
And they're ready to kill.
Yeah, ready to kill. Yeah, it's great. So what I'm saying is,
science fiction often becomes science fact, and I think Michael Crichton might have been ahead of his time. I think eventually we will bring something back.
Science fiction often becomes science fact. Put that over a fucking picture of space with Neil deGrasse Tyson looking listlessly into the distance. Science fiction often becomes science fact.
It does. It does.
I know. It's just the way you said it is so funny.
It was very like notable.
Yeah.
Science fiction often becomes science fact.
I stared at the mirror for 3 hours this afternoon practicing that line. I will not have. Science fiction often becomes science fact.